Good evening, people, for the second time today. Oh my goodness. And I couldn't be more thrilled, honestly. No, seriously. I had to take a rest day. You have to, like, if you want your body to make any progress, if you exercise, you have to rest. And so I haven't taken a rest day in a while and really didn't know what to do with myself. Watched a movie, and just chilled. And then I thought, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go live again. Fuck it. There's other stuff I want to talk about. So Lisa gifted 10 memberships, and so did the Petty Paralegal. Oh my God, you guys are amazing. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, the cool thing about doing this, folks, let me let you in on my favorite thing about what I do here. My favorite thing about what I do here is that I get to do whatever the fuck I want. I mean, yeah. I get to do whatever the fuck I want. It means I can go live whenever the fuck I want. I can go as long as I fucking want. I can not do live streams whenever the fuck I want. I can cover whatever the fuck I want. And this, the cool thing about this is I get to interact with you guys. And so sometimes I'm just like, man, I feel like kicking it with some of these folks, man, you know? And that's what happened tonight. I felt like kicking it with some of you folks. So I don't expect a whole lot of people in here. There's no catchy title to bait folks in here. This, you know, we're going to talk about a few of a few things that come to, hey, Clubber, buddy. Hey, Clubber. Can you not rip up the carpet, buddy? Please. Appreciate it. Oh man. Yeah.
Late. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. I think we got a super dad.
Cheers to doing whatever the fuck you want. I completely agree. Yes, cheers to that. If there's anything to ever cheers for, it's doing whatever the fuck you want. Saying whatever the fuck you want. Yeah, it's really funny. Like, because I'm a big fan of free speech, you know, and I got a lot of comments on the video that I did where I showed mass corruption. I think, or mass accountability. Is it mass accountability? Right. I showed their video, and I got a lot of comments because I went over that one dude's video. Some douchey report. I don't know what it was, but it was some bullshit. And a lot of you guys were in this live watching that. And there was a dude that just harassing people with a fucking with his cell phone, filming the people inside of a post office, which, okay, I mean, it's legal. Nobody's questioning whether or not it's legal. And there's a lot of comments going, hey, it's the Constitution. Read your Constitution. It's perfectly legal. They got all pissed off because I called the guy an asshole. Well, I mean, the guy's an asshole. Nobody's questioning the legalities of what he's doing, I realize. But the fact that he's taking advantage of and basically exploiting his right to film inside of and what he's doing is he's exploiting the people there. Because yeah, the whole thing is you have these rights, but these rights were designed to create a society of independent people. Okay. Now, if these rights were designed to protect the interests of independence, well, then what that means is that those rights were designed to make sure that your rights aren't trampled on, but not at the expense of someone else and their right to just fucking be at work and not worry about nothing. If the guy's doing his job and not doing anything to merit being called out, well, what the fuck are you harassing the guy for? You know, like, yeah, legally you have the right to do it, but I have the right to call you a fucking asshole for doing it. You know, like, it's not like the guy's covering up a murder. You know what I mean? Clever. Baby boy, I love you, buddy, but you are way too hyper right now. What, you want to say hi to everybody? Come here. Come on, say hi. You're a good boy. I took his harness off and his collar because he had like a studded collar that I got him, and I didn't really realize it for a long time. And I thought it was just because he was scratching because he had fleas, and then once the flea issue was taken care of, wasn't, it was still bad underneath, and I realized that his collar was causing irritation. It's like a thick, very wide collar, and it was causing him irritation. So I just got rid of it. I mean, I still have it, but I don't know. And then, I saw that he started chewing through his harness. So I'm just gonna leave the harness off of him, except when I walk him, and just order a new one and have it like on standby. But I'm sure this one will last another while longer. But he feels a lot better right now without the harness, so that's probably why he's like rolling around on the floor and just being all hyper and shit right now. So that's all that is. Yeah, so I got a lot of comments about that, like, everybody is just like, you don't understand, he has the right to do it. Like, again, nobody's questioning whether or not he has the right to do anything. LJ, thank you so much for gifting a membership. Congrats to Janine B. Right on. Thank you so much. That's incredibly kind. And thank you for becoming a new member. And no, don't you brag about the Bills winning in here. Okay. This is a Miami Dolphin studio here. Okay. Even though I don't have any Miami Dolphin stuff up, but Tua got hurt. And so that's just fucking fantastic. Like, it's like the Dolphins just can't. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. I think McDaniel's such a good coach and loves doing what he's doing, and like gets super psyched, and it's fun to watch him lead in chants. It's fun. And so like I don't like to see him lose, Sarah Shakanhara, member for 3 months. 3 months went by fast. Love y'all, crazy people. We love you too. It is a Dolphins chat. It's absolutely a Dolphins chat. I don't give a shit what you guys. Oh man. So it is. Yeah, so let me look something up here real quick, because I want to get to talking about this.
The fallout of the Karen Reed murder trial is impacting another high-profile case here in Massachusetts. State Police Trooper Michael Proctor will not take the stand in another murder trial.
This time, it is for the murder trial of Brian Walsh. The Cohasset man is accused of killing his wife, Anna, last year and then hiding her dismembered body. NBC 10's Eli Rosenberg joins us live outside the Norfolk County Courthouse. Eli, what is Proctor's connection to this case?
Appreciate you.
Well, it's very interesting. And if you follow the Karen Reed case, you know the name Michael Proctor. And despite the fact he is leading investigator in the Brian Walsh investigation as well, the DA's office saying more likely than not, he will not be climbing these steps to testify in that separate murder trial. He was front and center at one of the biggest trials in recent memory.
A sarcastic remark I made to Trooper DeChico.
Michael Proctor on the stand and in the hot seat over his conduct during the Karen Reed investigation and trial. Now word he won't be involved in another high-profile murder trial, which he was also lead investigator.
He was a complete disaster in the Karen Reed case that would follow him around at any other trial.
According to this recent court
filing, we love it.
Not planning on calling Proctor in the Brian Walsh trial. Walsh is charged with killing his wife and dismembering her body in early January 2023.
The baggage he comes with, it costs more to call him than not to. Now, the defendant will likely call him. That's their right. But it won't come off as badly for the government.
Proctor was the subject of controversy when
it's not
during
great.
the Reed trial,
it's not
texts
great.
he sent to colleagues and friends were made public. And soon after the trial, state police suspended him. Legal experts say Proctor would face the
Federal
same
being
line
on there?
of
Yeah, it
questioning
is
in
great.
Walsh's trial.
Federal
The
being on
Walsh
there
case is very different from Reed. You know, it's always a little more difficult to prove murder without a body.
All this comes with Reed's second trial now set for the end of January. The DA's office declining to comment when asked on Tuesday if Proctor will testify during Reed's second trial.
I think this is a serious problem at a second retrial. Any case that does rely on his testimony substantially is in serious peril.
All right, and you see the courthouse right here in Dedham. Word from the DA's office, he more likely than not will not be testifying here. Walsh's trial is set to take place here. It's the same courthouse, of course, as Reed's trial.
What's up, burden of
court
proof?
date, though, has been set for the Walsh trial. Meanwhile, according to Mass State.
Yeah, if you guys care about missing kids, you know, and that interests you in learning about some missing kids and wanting to spread information, make sure to subscribe to Burden of Proof. She's a great YouTube channel and, in my opinion, very underrated. Really fact-driven, very thorough, very kind-hearted, very empathetic. I highly recommend subscribing to Burden of Proof if you guys have not. Yeah, just real sweet. If you like Brandy Churchwell, you'll like Burden of Proof. That's for sure.
State Police. Proctor remains on unpaid leave as the investigation into his conduct continues. Live in Dedham, Eli Rosenberg, NBC 10 Boston.
Eli, thank you. And be sure to stay with us on air and online for continuing coverage of the Karen Reed case. You can also catch up on what happened in her first trial. Just scan the QR code you see right there on your screen for a link to our website. You can also download our free NBC 10 Boston app and search Canton Confidential. We'll be covering all the latest developments ahead of her retrial in January.
How cool is that to see Betterow, man? That was awesome. So you know what we're going to do? I just decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably within the next couple of days, hopefully tomorrow, let's explore the Brian Walsh case. What do you say, guys? We'll explore the Brian Walsh case because I want to cover it. I'm getting ambitious. So what I'm thinking of doing is October. Apparently, there's going to be a lot going on because we still want to go over all the updates and everything, all the progress in the Sandra Birchmore case. But Sarah Boone's trial starts in October. Leilani Simon's trial starts in October, and I'm definitely going to cover that because I covered that case. And then there'll be this as well. So it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. So I'll be live a lot. So I'm hoping that you guys will be interested in hanging out with me for that stuff. Because it just so happens it's just a lot of cases that I've been following where the trials are going to start at the same time. So yeah, that's the idea. Oh, look at you, done fucked up, Clever. Now the ball went under the thing that you can't get to. And I'm not crawling under there, homie. You're scarred, buddy. You're scarred. You're going to have to get another. There's another ball. Right, dude, there's 2 more identical balls right there. There you go, buddy. Good job. Here you go. Come here. Give me that. Give me that. Oh my goodness, Sarah and Shock and Horror. Shock and Horror. Gifted 10 memberships. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Oh my God. No, this dude.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad. I think we got a super dad.
Erica had 5. Thank you so much. Wow. Free Karen Reed vendor craft fair. Wow. Okay. What? A free Karen Reed vendor / craft fair, Sunday, September 22nd. So that is this coming Sunday. 12 to 4 p.m. The Star Drive-In, East Taunton, Massachusetts. All vendors have donated $75 to Karen's Legal Defense Fund and will be donated a proceed of their sales. 25 vendors, live music, face painting, and more. Wow. Okay, so bring the kids. That's good. So here, let me do this. I forgot to do this. Forgot to do this. Okay. All right. So the link to support Karen Reed's legal fund and help with that, because this team of lawyers is necessary and they're not cheap at the same time. So please make sure to if you're feeling generous, please make sure to donate to that. And thank you so much for that, Erica Mad D. That was awesome. And that information is incredible. That's dope. So like a vendor fair, a vendor craft fair. That's awesome. So this coming Sunday, if you're in the Boston area, go check that out. And all the vendors have donated $75 to Karen's Legal Defense Fund, which the link is pinned to the top of the chat right now. So thank you so much for that, Erica Mad 5. Oh, a week from Sunday. Okay, sorry. Yeah, no, you're right. Sorry. A week from Sunday. Jesus Christ. Yeah. That's when I'll be on my trip. Yeah. that's another thing. I was in talks. I finally got in contact with Calling All Beings. They finally got in contact with me. We finally got in contact with each other. And we were gonna do something next Thursday, but that's the day that I leave. So we were gonna do something then. So we're just gonna have to rethink it because I don't know exactly what's going to happen, how long I'm gonna be on this trip, or what's gonna happen exactly. So I want to figure out how we're gonna work that out. But I'm looking forward to that. Liz, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yeah, so I look forward to it because so far, dudes had some great panels, man. Retired LEO captain, thank you. Will, remember last time I called in and mentioned to you about violations under the color of law? It already started with Farwell and more to follow. Gotcha. Yeah. So let's get into that again. Brian Walsh. We're gonna get into that case. I can't really talk too much about it. What's up, Nurse Kim? It's good to see you. I don't really know. I know I started to cover it. I think I just kind of breezed over it on a live stream that I was talking about something else when it first happened. And I went over the list of stuff, the Celebrate Google searches. And my favorite thing about this, now here's what we have to understand, because it's not a good thing. But the irony, if you saw this in a fictional movie, you'd be laughing. You would be. In a fictional movie where no real people are actually affected by this, you would be laughing. Because here, in its infinite wisdom, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, fought tooth and nail in the Karen Reed trial and in pretrial to discredit Celebrate, to discredit the validity of Celebrate because of Jen McCabe's 2:27 a.m. Google search. Now that's going to be real interesting in the Brian Walsh trial, because they're going to be counting on Celebrate data to prove their case against him. Now, I wonder what Brian Walsh's defense is going to do with that. And I said this then. The moment that I found out, because I believe I was live when it happened, the moment that I realized that Norfolk County District Attorney Michael Morrissey's office was handling both the Karen Reed case and the Brian Walsh case, I was like, wait a minute. How's that going to work? How is that going to work? Ask Bob. Thank you so much. Will, can you replay Turtle Boy's call into the Canton Select Board last night? It was epic and hilarious. Thanks. I might do that. I did that yesterday. So, I mean, I might do that, or the day before. I don't know when it was. But yeah, I might do that. Maybe. I don't know. But I want you guys to drink that in. Okay. I want you guys to drink in the fact that the very same district attorney's office, the very same prosecution that works so hard to discredit the validity of Celebrate, is counting on Celebrate to prove their case against Brian Walsh, because Brian Walsh's Google searches are fucked up. And I mean fucked up. And then when I go over the case, I'll go over those Google searches. I promise. I'll see if I can just throw together a quick timeline or find one, and we'll just go over it and talk about it. And yeah, dude, from what I read when the case first happened, I was like, this dude totally did this shit. You know what I mean? Because I was already familiar with Celebrite. You know what I mean? I was already familiar with it. You know, there were other cases that I followed, other trials I followed that they used Celebrite, and they were like instrumental in convicting a guilty defendant. You know? Dude, Glen Lake, I'm trying to tell you. That's an understatement that they rival Jen McCabe's. Oh my God. Like Jen McCabe's are damning. Don't get me wrong. They're nothing short of damning, but Brian Walsh's are like, dig a hole, get in there, set yourself on fire, and then bury yourself alive while you're burning alive. You know, of course, the dirt would smother and put out the fire. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You get the point. It's ridiculous that I mean, and the whole thing here is there's no way they're going to get away with this. This is good news as much as it is bad, because Brian Walsh is going to walk. Mark my words. Brian Walsh is going to fucking walk. He is an absolutely guilty fucking murderer, cold-blooded fucking greedy fucking conniving fucking H.H. Holmes type motherfucker that should be locked up for the rest of his life. Absolutely 100% I believe this. And he's going to fucking walk, because not only is the defense going to destroy them on the Celebrite because of the Karen Reed stuff, but the lead detective won't be called up to testify. The lead detective's credibility is not compromised. It's fucked. It's absolutely fucked. So if Brian Walsh has the kind of lawyer that I think he probably has, he's going to walk. And it's absolutely 150% Michael Morrissey's fault. Well, it's actually a pie, and Michael Morrissey is about 75%. But how big of a chunk Brian Albert is, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. But Brian Albert is a chunk of that pie. That I guarantee you. So this sloppy ass attempt at a cover-up on Karen Reed about the murder of a Boston police officer named John O'Keefe. The sloppy, half-assed bullshit attempt at a cover-up is going to cost a lot of good people of Massachusetts justice, because it's not just the Brian Walsh case that is going to be fucked here. It's every case that Michael Proctor, at least, had anything to do with. That's a big deal, folks. That's a big deal. That is monumental, historical shit. What that is it's a prison riot inside of a town without the prison. It's the justice system turned inside out. Make no mistake about that. And I am not making an understatement here. Fucking take that shit to the bank. I'm telling you right now. The fact that Michael Morrissey's office is under investigation, and the fact that Michael Proctor already cannot testify. Now, the defense is going to call him up, but the prosecution isn't even going to call up its lead investigator in the case where they're going to try Brian Walsh. Now, this sets a precedent in a very slippery slope now, because now defense attorneys are going to get on this like rabid dogs. They're just going to latch on to this Michael Proctor discredited bullshit, and fucking they're going to, and it's not bullshit. It's not bullshit. This is what happens when you have a dirty cop. This is what happens when you have a dirty cop at Proctor's level. This is what happened when you have a dirty district attorney. Because I promise you, it's not just Proctor. Proctor was just really sloppy and really stupid. Every single one of Proctor's colleagues are looking at him like he's the fuck up. Like they all want to kill him, but they can't. That I'm telling you is my theory. Right now, Tully, Buchanan, all of them want to murder Michael Proctor, but they can't. Because the public is getting louder and louder about this case. And the louder this case gets, I mean, dude, did you see that footage of that lady? I can't even find it right now. The footage of the lady, Buchanan shows up to her fucking doorstep. She pulls out her phone and starts filming him and going, yeah, you're going to jail, motherfucker. You're coming over here because of a fucking post, which is clearly intimidation. Clearly, like, really? Someone can't post something on social media? You're fucking with their civil rights, their fucking right to free speech. You're showing up at their door to question them about exercising their First Amendment right to just simply post something on social media. You have the audacity to show up at their doorstep and treat them like you're investigating a crime. So she saw how fucking, how ridiculous this was. She saw it immediately. She saw how fucking crooked it was. And you could tell this lady, it was just in her nature, man. It was really cool. It was just in her nature to just be like, oh yeah, motherfucker, you're showing up at my doorstep with this bullshit. You're going to prison, motherfucker. You're going to enjoy prison, you piece of shit. Get the fuck off my property. Get the fuck off my property. And he was just like, have a nice day, ma'am. Have a nice day. Because he knew goddamn well that in this climate, that video getting out isn't a good look for him. It's just not. Because it's showing that they're getting desperate. Right now, they feel like exploding, each of these people right now. Brian Albert, Chris Albert, Brian Higgins, Guarino, William Farwell, all of these people, Michael Morrissey, Tully, they all feel like exploding all the time right now. Every single one of those people with the kind of pressure that's on them right now, the McCabe's, all of the Alberts, they're freaking the fuck out right now. Think about that shit. Think about that shit. And no, it's not because people are intimidating them and harassing them. I mean, I don't condone that shit. But what we're doing, just talking about the fact that every single thing seems like a step closer to their lies being exposed. They already exposed themselves as liars. They did it to the whole world in that trial. Right? So what we're looking at now is things unfolding little by little. Jurors coming forward. That shit's never happened before. That shit's never happened before. Dude, such a high profile case. I don't understand. What did Bev think was going to happen? Like, such a high profile case like this, and you're going to just do everything that is going to make the public side eye you and go, why did you do that? Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you sustain the defense's objection? Why would you allow this to go to trial? I mean, like, the thing is this is Beverly Cannoni's legacy, man. This is her legacy, dude. This is what she's going to go down in history for. This is what she's going to be remembered for. Anybody who remembers the name Judge Beverly Cannoni is going to think of the Karen Reed trial, the Karen Reed saga. That's what they're going to think of whenever they hear her name. And everything right now so far is showing that Judge Beverly Cannoni was instrumental in violating the rights of Karen Reed. When this is all over and people are making documentaries and writing stories about this, writing books about this, this is going to, there's no way to paint this picture accurately without painting Judge Beverly Cannoni as questionable, to say the least. Suspiciously negligent, suspiciously ignorant, suspiciously biased. I mean, there's no way to not accurately portray Judge Beverly Cannoni other than in this light. Because all you have to do is compare this case to literally any other case that you've ever followed that was high profile in the true crime, in the history of true crime, high profile cases. You've never seen anything like this. It's crazy, dude. Like, and it's blatantly in your face. Judge Beverly Cannoni knows that the world is watching. It's almost like she's deliberately putting on a show titled, "I'm the worst fucking judge on the planet in the history of judges. Check me out." It's bizarre. I'm the most shadiest fucking judge in the history of judges. Starring Judge Beverly Cannoni. It's wild, man. This is some fucking Wild West cowboy shit, man. Like, insane. It's like they're trying to tell the whole world, this is how we do things in Norfolk County. Go fuck yourselves. It's not almost like that. It's exactly like that. Look at the Canton Select Board meetings, dude. The Canton Select Board meetings are the most public mass fuck yous that I've ever seen. Like, on a mass level, I've never seen so many in a row of a public fuck you from its elected and appointed officials to the taxpayer. I've never seen anything like that, dude. It's bizarre, man. Like, think about that shit for a second. Like, a lot of you guys, type of one, if you're not from Massachusetts, but you're following this case and you've watched the Canton Select Board meetings. You see why I didn't put up a poll in the chat, because it's too much to type. Specifically, people who are not from Massachusetts and have been watching select board meetings following this case. Okay, cool. Wow, a lot of you guys, man. That's fucking amazing. Now, you guys can attest to this shit, right? Like, you're watching these people basically just stonewall the public. They do whatever the fuck they want in the public's face only because they're required to do it in their faces. If they could hold those meetings in private, they would. If they could cheat the public out of the experience, they would. So they do the next best thing for themselves, and they just pretend like they're not there. And they don't and just not even pretend that they don't matter to them. It's wild, dude. Like it's got such a grandfathered in good old boy bullshit vibe, because it's like, dude, if you're counting on these people to vote for you, you wouldn't treat them like that. You know what I mean? If you're counting on those people to vote for you, you wouldn't treat them like that. Now, what that tells me is, since you are willing to treat them like that, you're not counting on them voting for you, which tells me that there's something really shady going on there. Especially when you treat them like fuck you. And they know the world is watching now, and they don't even try to clean up their act. They don't know how to clean up their act. They don't have any basis, no reference of what non-corrupt fucking local government is. They don't have anything to reference it. You know what I mean? So when they try to fake it, you can see right through it. Like, as soon as they fucking put Kevin Albert on paid leave and then, brought him back, everyone here saw through it for what it was. But the thing is I stand by my statement at the time. I said it was a good thing because it shows that they're scared. They wouldn't have bothered to make that gesture unless they were scared. Unless Chief Helena Rafferty was scared. She had to look like she was taking some sort of action. But she took the minimum action. That situation stinks of a private negotiation that took place. That had to have. You know that there was a conversation that happened where it was just like, okay, well, we don't want to let you go, but we got to settle on something here. How about suspended indefinitely, no pay? No. How about administrative leave with pay? Okay, yeah, we can do that, especially since everybody's fucking scared of Brian Albert. So, sure, Kevin Albert, that's what we'll agree on. Rafferty and the Albert shook on it, walked out of the office. That's how I picture that situation. Yeah, I mean, he gave him the summer off, And, don't forget, like, this is Proctor and Kevin Albert hanging out together after the prosecution tried to argue that Proctor was not friends with the Alberts. You know what I mean? Like, that is extremely telling. Again, that's like, we're focusing too much on one thing because it sounds juicier. You know what I mean? But in reality, it really isn't. It's like focusing, and thank you so much, Shannon Heckman. I appreciate you. it's really funny to me because it's like the whole I was thinking of an example in this case that was similar to this. But I got distracted by the chat. Give me just 1 second. Yeah, that's totally what happened, Sherry. I mean, it's late, you know. So my my ADHD just totally got the better of me. I was in mid-thought too. And I was about to give 2 examples of something that were very similar, and I can't remember what they were. I completely lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. So, all right, I'm getting there. Hold on. They're getting put together right now. So, Chief Rafferty, like the whole him leaving his gun and badge in the car while drunk is an easy thing to focus on, right? It's kind of like Michael Proctor. Here's the other example I was thinking of. Michael Proctor and the text messages and how vile and disgusting they were about Karen Reed. That's something that people are going to focus on a little bit more and tend to on a mass level a little bit more and a little easier than the fact that Proctor's investigation was completely and totally fucked. Because you really have to start thinking about the evidence, the reports, when evidence was filed, when it wasn't filed, when witness statements were taken, what was said in grand jury. You take into consideration all of these things, and these are the things that we really need to focus on to show that what the real problem with Proctor is. Now, I'm not saying that it's not a problem that Proctor talks about a woman who is a suspect in this manner. I'm saying that's just a drop in the bucket of what is wrong with Michael Proctor and him being a Massachusetts state trooper. There's a whole shit ton of other stuff that is subject to focus when it comes to how he is likely framing Karen Reed for this crime. So you have that, and it's like the Kevin Albert thing, the gun being left in the car, the badge and gun being left behind because they were drunk. That's like, okay, that's the easier thing to focus on. But to me, the most important thing to focus on that dynamic is the fact that he's out getting drunk with Kevin Albert, and the guy leaves his gun and badge in his car, but he's trying to convince the jury that he's not practically family with the Alberts after it was proven by the defense, actually proven by Turtle Boy, that he is absolutely connected to the Alberts, absolutely connected to the McCabe's. So to me, that's the bigger thing that people are not focusing on, or at least not as much as the gun and badge thing, because I mean, that just proves that, this whole they're underplaying of the relationships between the Proctors, the Alberts, and the McCabe's. Everything about Michael Proctor being involved in this investigation is wrong. I've never seen anything like that. Think about it. Literally everything. Like, there's so many different angles that you can come from to attack Michael Proctor's justification for being a Massachusetts state policeman heading up murder investigations. It makes no sense unless, the people employing him are corrupt in the sense, even to the minimum level of just not caring, not knowing, not caring enough to know that he's that negligent and that shitty of a fucking investigator. It's wild, man. Look behind me. What's behind me? Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. You know, it's just wild to me. I mean, think about, like, we're talking about every lead investigator, every name at the top of the list of investigators involved in John O'Keefe's death and that investigation. You look at every single one. Oh, the calendar, right? Okay. You look at every single one, and they're under internal affairs investigation. Think about that shit. They're under internal affairs investigation. So, what about every other case that they've been working on? How's that going to look? What's going on in chat here? Oh, I don't know anything about that. Oh, flirpy flirp. I don't think there's ghosts in. I mean, this house that I live in is 105 years old. It's 105 years old. Yeah. It's a big house, and it's a little scary, you know? A little bit. But yeah. Right. The paid paralegal. You're right. I believe that too. Honestly, I have no reason not to believe that at this point. You know what I mean? That's fair. That's at least fair. You know, but the thing is it still makes for a good argument for a defense of any person literally that was subject to any one of their investigations. So whether the internal affairs is part of their bullshit or not, it doesn't matter. A defense attorney can actually argue the credibility against that officer now to defend their client. And if that alone is enough to create enough doubt that that person is guilty, even if they are, they're going to walk. Brian Walsh is probably going to walk, people. Trying to tell you. I don't like it. But Brian Walsh is probably going to walk. I hope he doesn't. But the thing is imagine the case. Imagine you're Josh Levy. Okay? And imagine the case that you would have if you are prepared to present to a jury that the corruption in Norfolk County, Massachusetts was so bad that it affected so many criminal cases where criminals were forced to be let go Imagine the case that Josh Levy's office would have if they can connect Michael Morrissey and anybody working under his umbrella of corruption. Imagine what kind of case Josh Levy would have. You know what I mean? That's wild shit, man. Like, so the point I'm getting at is I have no reason to think that this isn't how the feds work. You know, the feds are, you know, probably just, you know, they can't legally interfere unless there's a federal crime being committed, but they can't legally interfere in local cases unless they are asked for assistance. So they got to wait. But imagine how many cases, while Michael Morrissey is just doing business as usual, 9 to 5 corrupt shit, right? Imagine the case that if these criminals, these people who we know are guilty, walk on the technicality that these police officers, their credibility is compromised. I mean, it's a scary thought, but that'll make for a hell of a case for Josh Levy's U.S. Attorney's Office. What dude will never get out of jail, AA Ron? What's up, Grandmaster Sid Sophos? Love that dude, bro. What time is it over there in London? Oh, shit. Microdots, haven't seen you in a minute, homie. It's good to see you, buddy. Oh, that's something we could do. I can go over some Microdots videos. I haven't seen you in a minute, man. I was like, man, I don't think Microdots loves me no more. I'm just kidding. But yeah, there's actually a couple of Microdots videos. One that I definitely want to go over because it's probably my favorite one. I posted on Twitter about it. And I fucking lost my shit. I laughed so hard because it's literally 14 seconds long. And I died, bro. It's just so simple, so direct, so perfect, and so fucking like hit to the balls, bro. Just straight fucking like you remember like Tim and Eric where there would just be like, and then this midget would run up and punch somebody in the balls and then run away and be like, like. I used to love Tim and Eric. All right, check this out. Watch this. This is 14 seconds long. I'm going to play it a couple of times. Hold on. Here we go.
Matt and Jen McCabe stick to the script. In 3, 2.
John never went in the house. It wasn't a story. It was the truth.
One more time. One more time.
Matt and Jen McCabe stick to the script. In 3, 2.
John never went in the house. It wasn't a story. It was the truth.
Yeah, because, you know. Oh, that's my boy right there. Yeah, because that's not even, there's no conspiracy at all. Let me tell you something, folks. That right there is solid proof of a conspiracy. Solid proof.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad. I think we got a super dad.
Bukaki's missing dentures. Thank you so much. Even if I thought Karen was guilty, I'd rather her walk free than Walsh. Corruption is what caused this atrocity. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I absolutely agree with you. Walsh is a sick, twisted fucking murderer. At worst case scenario, Karen Reed she had too much to drink and didn't realize that she backed into something. Maybe her music was too loud. Who knows? We know that her car didn't hit anything. We know that the taillight was planted. We know none of this happened, but I'm saying worst case scenario, that would have been the case. That would have absolutely been the case, but it was not. Grandmaster said, Sophos, thank you so much. I hope I can make it across the border. I hope to see my friend and shake his hand. I hope the Pacific is as blue as it is in my dreams. Hold on. I hope I can make it across the border. I hope to see my friend and shake his hand. I hope the Pacific is as blue as it has been in my dreams. I hope. I hope. Andy crawled through 500 yards of shit-smelling foulness I can't even imagine. Oh my God, I love that movie. Microdots, thank you so much. I loved it here. Glare rules. Microdots rules, man. Make sure to sub up to Microdots if you're not already. Dude, yeah. Yeah, this is you're talking about my shirt. Yeah, this is one of my newest shirts. Yeah, good call. This is from one of the greatest shots of any movie ever. Easily. When the warden realizes that Andy's been digging a hole in that wall for years and years and years and hiding the hole behind a poster of a sexy cupcake. Raquel Welch. All right, let's see what else we got here. Oh, yeah, I was going to go over the Las Vegas thing. We might as well do that, man. I got a whole pot of coffee. Let's go over these Las Vegas dudes. I'll be pausing it here and there because I haven't watched this whole thing. So I'll speed it up so it goes through it. But these guys have a lot of really interesting things to say if you guys have not watched them yet. Microdots conducted a brilliant interview with them. And so I am really, really excited, actually, to watch this. I'm not sure. This seems just like the perfect time just for like a late night, just kicking it live. This seems like the perfect thing to go over.
Corruption is very powerful, and it can happen very quickly.
He calls me, tells me to watch, and I go, holy shit.
Yeah, this is dirty. This is dirty. A dead cop in a front yard. That would be front page news. Absolutely 100%. There'd be 1,000 people at that scene.
We work so hard to maintain the public trust.
Brian Albert says he didn't wake up.
Is a lie.
And you're going to get caught.
Yeah.
I said they're dirty cops. So when you have a entire police department and there's 20 people, guess what? If most of them are dirty, you're going to be dirty too.
Yep.
Everything is cameras.
Everything's tracked.
Everywhere.
Everything's tracked.
If people are inside and they're not answering, that's going to look suspicious. Hey, dude, you're a cop. You got a dead cop in your front yard. Do you know that?
You know what I love about these guys is every time when I first started following this case, okay? And again, I haven't watched this whole thing, but what I did watch, I got this vibe from them, especially just through the beginning of the video. I thought that it was amazing because they were validating. We have been gaslit so much. When you really think about it, now just because we're resistant to it, and it's just a natural instinct for us to just listen to logical, evidence, it's still, we've been gaslit a lot when you think about it, because the thought and the memory that we are not law enforcement agents, some of us are. I'm not, but some of you guys are, or retired, and in my mind the whole time I'm going, why was the scene at 34 Fairview not secured better? I heard a lot of excuses. They sound like excuses to me, but the fact that I'm not a cop made me feel like it wasn't right for me to make those judgments. Does that make sense? Because I don't like to be one of those people, you know what I mean? I'm one of those first people that's going to be like, hey, listen, man, if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, you should shut the fuck up. I'm one of those first people to do that, so I don't want to, I always remind myself, I'm not a professional, but it's like they're using that to make you think and justify their shabby ass actions with leaf blowers and fucking Solo cups and no evidence bags and insane shit like this that took place. The shit being left alone for 6 hours, not secured or in any way. And the way that they explain, because I'm picturing something in my mind, and what I loved is what I pictured in my mind when I first heard about this case, thinking, why weren't these things done? And then shutting myself down, going, well, chill, Will. Make sure to keep yourself in check and remember that you're not a fucking cop and you don't get to make these fucking judgments on how other people do their job. So keep that into consideration. That's what I do. And these Las Vegas cops end up verbalizing everything that I thought in my head that made me check myself and go, hey, Will, you're not a cop, watch it. You know what I mean? So they validated what I thought was reasonable, which was fucking rope off the whole goddamn road. You got a dead cop laying there. Everybody down here, calling all cars kind of shit. You know what I mean? And that's what they and that's what they basically say should have happened.
I'm Brian. I'm 53. I worked for Metro Police here in Las Vegas for 22 years. I did a couple different assignments, but the bulk of my career was spent in patrol. I love patrol. I'm a road dog. I like being out on the street. I like being the first one there. To me, patrol is like doing God's work, and you get all the excitement.
My name is Luciano Gonzalez. I joined the department when I was 34, a little bit longer than two. Moved down here, decided to join the best department in the nation, which is Metro, because of the training and just the experiences that we have. I enjoyed my job. I really enjoyed my job. It wasn't that we're going to save everybody, but we just need to save somebody or help somebody.
Help somebody every day. If we can make a difference, a little bit of a difference every night, that to me, that was a win. We're basically together all night, most nights for years. And we had a ton of fun.
The area that we worked in, you could hunt or you could take it easy. So hunting, meaning go after guns and drugs. And that would be Dean Martin Corridor. And that's where all the prostitutes and all the pimps hung out. If we wanted to have a good night and have fun, we'd go down there. If we wanted to have a chill night, we'd go to our area, our sector beats, which is more residential.
I would go and hunt crackheads or tweakers if I wanted to. And then 10 minutes later, I get a call to Spanish Hills. And I'm at, Randall Cunningham's house. Or like I've been to Roseanne Barr's house. I've been to Nicolas Cage. I've been to his house. I've been to Floyd Mayweather's house a bunch of times. I've been to Randall Cunningham's house, Jenna Jameson's house. I've been to Vince Neil's house like 3-4 times. Where else would you get that?
So I love this shit right here. These guys are like, we decide what kind of night it's going to be. We could just kind of chill, give out citations and shit, you know, or we could just hunt crackheads. You know what I mean? Like, that shit sounds like fun. That sounds like the life. You know what I mean? That sounds like a good living. You know, it's fucking noble. You know, you're putting your life on the line to make sure that there's not somebody fucking snatching fucking purses for a crack habit. You know what I mean? And, you know, you get to put a very limited beat down on them. You know what I mean? Not a real one, just one of those, you know, get down on the fucking floor a little harder than you needed to be because you made somebody run. That kind of shit, you know? I'm just kidding. No police brutality is okay. I'm joking, I promise.
But we don't have the corruption back east like out here.
No.
It couldn't happen. It can't, because the way metros run, it couldn't happen. Even in our smaller units like Dope,
Narcs,
or Narcs and Vice, they're small units, you know, 5, 8 guys. But to do something like with a Karen Reed, it's not gonna happen.
It's an individual crime where it happens. Yeah. It's an individual crime.
Yeah. It's a dead cop in a front yard. That would be front page news. Absolutely 100%. There'd be 1,000 people at that scene. No one would be able to cover up anything. Yeah, ever.
1,000 people at that scene, and nobody would be able to cover up anything ever. They're like, there's no way that shit would happen in Vegas, because there's too many eyes on corruption. There's too much, right? So these guys are saying why it wouldn't happen in Vegas, which I love.
Yep.
It
wouldn't happen.
So you think the corruption has a lot to do with the size of the department?
And that's just it.
Exactly.
For us, our department, we have 3,000 police officers, right? Then we have NHP, and then we have the COs. For us, for that to happen here, it can't happen because we're just such a big department, and everybody's always moving to different sector beats, different area commands.
They're not so much corrupt; they're just doing something stupid, like taking cash from people and using their Metro gas card to pump people gas. We've actually had a guy do that. He got fired. You throw away an entire career for $20 cash for some gas, and you're going to get caught.
Yeah.
Here in Vegas, everything is cameras. Everything's tracked everywhere.
Everything's tracked
everywhere. Especially when you come down the strip, you're not getting.
Yeah, that's crackhead shit.
In 5 feet without being on film, and they have all the facial recognition, so they recognize you. They'll see who you are before you even come in the building. But there's some super cops, but the big corruption stuff, no.
It's the size and the longevity of what you're dealing with that officers get away with certain things, and they talk about it, and the other officer wants to try it, and they all kind of, now they're involved. Yeah. Now they're in it to win it, right? So they can't do anything besides keep going forward and keep doing the corruption.
You know, when they see the movies like Training Day, and some people think, like my wife, when she watches it, she's like, does that really happen? No, it's a movie. People have to remember,
well,
you know, remember Rampart, right? So it does happen, but it's just so rare. But I noticed on the East Coast, because I'm from Philly, when I was trying to be a cop back there, I noticed there's so many little counties, and there's, 30 different police departments in 10 square miles, and they don't communicate with each other. They don't talk to each other. So when you have a entire police department and there's 20 people, guess what? If most of them are dirty, you're going to be dirty too.
Yep, eventually.
So that's what I think with the Proctor and all them in Canton. It's a small, like you said, it's real small. There's only so many cops. If half of them are dirty, or even just a couple are dirty, everybody all of a sudden is dirty. Corruption is very powerful, and it can happen very quickly. And you really have to be on guard, because as a cop, you can really get away with stuff.
So how did you guys first find out about the Karen Reed case?
Good, Brian. I found out from my wife. We were hanging out, and she's like, "Hey," I said, "What are you watching?" Because, like I said, she watches a lot of court TV.
Now, the dude on the left with the glasses, if you've been with my channel for a long time, like I mean a long time, and you might see this dude in my chat sometimes, like he pops up once in a blue moon. He's called EBJ Comic Nut. I don't know. We just call him Mr. Nut, right? He looks kind of like him. And Mr. Nut is like that dude he's not the dude you want to fuck with. Like, I don't know what he does for a living, but I know that what he does for a living is something that I don't want to know what he does for a living. But it's legit. You know what I mean? It's legit. He's that kind of dude. And he's a really, really, really nice and very, like, he's very anti-bully, And I mean, the guy's a badass. Like, he just had a fucking heart attack. And he's just been at the gym. Just like when I knew him, he was kind of overweight. But now he's just fucking jacked. Like, it's crazy. And he had a heart attack, and he went right back in the gym, and now he's gonna compete. Like, he's training to compete now. Dude's amazing. But yeah, like he's former military and let's say private sector. to some degree.
And she's like, I'm watching this fascinating case about Karen Reed and these cops. And she goes, I think they're dirty. She goes, can I tell you some stuff about it? And I said, sure. So she told me about 10 minutes worth of stuff after she had already watched Proctor, Paul, Higgins. So my wife knows everything about this case inside now. So she tells me some things. And I'm like, that ain't right.
Right.
That ain't right. That ain't right at all. And I said, so after 10 minutes, I said, those are dirty cops.
He calls me, he tells me to watch, and I go, holy shit.
Yeah, I said, they're dirty cops, honey. That's all. They're dirty cops. Let it go. And then she says, you need to do a video on this because these are dirty cops. So I was like, okay. And she's like, my wife's like, what's your biggest video, highest watched video? And it was a bad sergeant, bad lieutenant. It wasn't court. It was a deposition. But she's like, that's your highest one. Why don't you do this and see how it goes? And I said, you know what? You're right. Because they're dirty cops and we do cops. I said, okay. And I mentioned it to him, mentioned it to Steve. We filmed it. And then it just blew up.
He prefers to be called Producer Steve.
Producer Steve. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For me,
These guys have no, like, that's so funny. They had no idea. I had no idea when I covered this case. Dude, think about it. I Forrest Gumped this shit totally. Like I did it right in front of you guys. I was just like, I haven't even looked into this case. I figured I'd try something new and look into it with you guys live. And then it just attracted a whole new audience, because I had no idea the depth of what the ripples were from this case. And how it was affecting the locals in Massachusetts. It's wild. I did not expect to attract the audience that I attracted since I started talking about this case. I expected something to the, you know what I mean? I expected my regulars to take interest, but yeah, this case, once you get into it, it's real easy to understand why there are so many people who feel so personally affected by this. And I can't, there's not a moment about this covering this case that I regret. There's not a moment about covering this case that I would do differently. And not a person that I've interacted with that I would change.
Was the text messages that he was exchanging with his boys. So,
bad, right?
listen, when we have an officer-involved fatality, that's the last thing that's going to happen. I mean, the amount of resources that's going to be deployed through that scene, there isn't going to be no text messages. Yeah, she's going to take the rap and all that explicit stuff that he was saying. From when I heard that, I go, this guy is 100% on the wrong side.
Yeah. And then when I found out that both of the guys got rid of their phones the day before the order came out on September 23rd, that they were going to need their phones. Proctor calling Karen every name in the book, texting people, telling everybody about the case, not using the Canton PD interview rooms, not filming. We always film interviews. Every interview is filmed and recorded. They didn't do it for him. So all these things, and they said, oh, what was the damage to the body? She's like, well, there's no pictures, no CSI. And I'm like, wait a minute, stop. How is there no CSI?
Yeah, everything us non-cops who watch a lot of movies and TV who thought that these things not happening was shady and weird, these real cops are confirming it. There's a reason why a movie or TV show that's going for authenticity is going to fucking have those things happen, because they want to go for authenticity. That's how up and up investigations are actually conducted. Much less if you've ever followed any other true crime case ever, then you understand that this is not how investigations are conducted. The way that these Canton and MSP officers did.
CSI. We would have 1,000 pictures of this guy. The way, just everything's showing. I'm like, this is dirty. This is dirty. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? We need to do this.
How would the investigation have been different if you guys had rolled up to the scene?
So basically, if him and I were working patrol, right, and we got a call, hey, they would say there's a 419, which means a dead body here in Vegas. There's a 419 at this address. You show us en route. So we would go. When we get there, first thing we would do is get everybody away from the body.
Separate each other.
Separate every witness. Get everybody separated, because that way they can't talk. We would crime scene tape. We would tape off probably more than a half of a football. We would actually close down the whole street. If there's a dead person in the driveway, we would probably close both ends of the street. So no cars. This way, when arriving traffic, all the units coming, because everybody in the world's coming, plenty of room for everybody to park, right? You got to think about the command. We call it a
Listen to that shit right
First thing we would do is get everybody away from the body.
Separate each other.
Separate every witness. Get everybody.
First thing they would do, right? First thing they would do, get everybody away from each other. Separate every witness. That means get Karen away from Carrie and Jen McCabe. Get Jen McCabe away from Carrie Roberts. Someone fucking knock on the goddamn door. and get everybody away. Find out who's seen what. If there's somebody in the house, you have to find out if they saw something. Gives a shit if you might wake them up. You know what I mean?
Everybody separated because that way they can't talk. We would tape crime scene tape. We would tape off probably more than a half of a football. We would actually close down the whole street. If there's a dead person in the driveway, we would probably close both ends of the street. So no cars. This way, when arriving traffic, all the units coming because everybody in the world's coming. Plenty of room for everybody to park, right? You got to think about the command. We call it a CP, command post. So a command post is going to be set up.
Egress and egress for medical vehicles.
Yeah. Have medical come in, get his name, where he worked, find out family members who was there. Brian Albert says he didn't wake up.
Is a lie.
That's because you know what? I'd be knocking on that door over and over and over. Hey, dude, you're a cop. You got a dead cop in your front yard. Do you know that? So the fact that he says he never even came outside to investigate what was going on, a normal person would come out and see what's going on.
You got the nosy neighbors, man. They
right.
Walk down.
So not only are they calling out the fact that Brian Albert should have came out, there's no reason. It's suspicious as fuck that Brian Albert didn't come out of his house. No fucking way he didn't know what was going on outside of his house. These guys are calling that bullshit. I called that bullshit. We all called that bullshit. No fucking way that Brian and Nicole Albert did not know what was going on in their fucking front lawn. I call absolute and total bullshit on that. So not only are they confirming that right there, but they're also confirming that the cops should have been knocking on their door. He's like, I would have been knocking on his door because fuck that. Guys, you heard me say this shit months ago. Why isn't somebody banging on that fucking door and saying, hey, I need to do a wellness check. You got a dead cop in your front lawn or a cop who's about to die in your front lawn, and I need to go into the house and make sure everyone is okay. That right there is probable cause. That is absolute probable cause. A dying police officer looks like he got his ass kicked laying on the front lawn of this house. You are beyond negligent. If you are a police officer, a sworn police officer, and you don't knock on that door and ask to take a look around to make sure everybody in the house is okay as well, you are not doing your job.
Walk down the street, they're looking out the window.
So we would get the scene tight. Then we would start breaking down, and the detectives would show up. They would start pulling people into their cars and interview them in the car, recorded. CSI would come out. They would take a million pictures. Everything would be done. Nobody would even touch John O'Keefe's body.
Now, if they scooped and swooped, right, like the medical people did, we would annotate exactly where the head is, where the center mass is, and which direction it was laying.
Yeah, we would take pictures before they left. Even if it's with your phone, and you got to take some pictures.
We cone it. We cone it out. We call it cone it out. Yep. So we cone it out. So whoever comes to investigate knows exactly where and how far the body was.
Right.
There ain't no guessing. Well, I think he was here. No.
Right.
We would know an inch of where his head was.
Yep. And everybody would start getting interviewed, and they would be out there for probably 15 to 20 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And there would be pictures. They would get the blood. They would go through the scene. They would slowly let get the snow melting and do what they need to do. They would look at the car. They would impound the car. And then RCSI would test the vehicle because they're saying, hey, she hit him, rear-ended him, right, and it hit his head. They would test that and see like how much damage can a head take and how much does it take to break the tailpipe or the taillights. So
just like Paul Dark and Handsome did.
Yeah. we would do all of that. I mean, that would be a typical scene here in Las Vegas.
Especially with the officer involved.
If it's an officer, you're going to double everything almost.
In your department, who would handle all of the forensic testing?
In theory, that's what we thought. If there's a cop involved, then, again, all hands on deck. Every boot on the ground for this one. I need everybody fucking lively on this. We got a dead cop. So, his family deserves a thorough, sound investigation. Crazy. This is like it's so crazy to me that this is even going on. And these guys are just basically they're not even like sugarcoating anything. They're validating everything that we were like screaming at the top of our lungs the first time that we heard about this case.
Testing would be everybody has their own isolated job. CSI does nothing else but pictures, blood, gather all the evidence. That's all CSI does. It's not like the TV show where they're interviewing people and kicking doors. That'll never happen in a million years. If the show showed them what they really was, there wouldn't be no show because it's so boring.
Yeah, we have a detail that strictly deals with pedestrian accidents. And when there's a fatality, they roll out and they take the scene and they take the vehicle. And those are the people that, if they can't do it themselves, they will hire a specialist, an expert, to come out and try to reconstruct what happened.
Yeah.
Did you hear the testimony from the ARCA experts?
Well, we're doing Dr. Wolf, right?
He's dreamy.
He's dreamy. So I haven't seen the ARCA guys, but I do remember seeing part of Dr. Wolf saying he did not die from a car. That did not happen.
After I watched this video, I think my IQ went up like 100 points.
I know, very impressive.
Right?
But I don't, just from what I saw, I wouldn't say that the tail light, he did not die from getting hit from a car.
No way.
I've seen enough people hit by cars and accidents and deaths. He did not get hit by that car. He might have gotten hit, but it didn't.
Going 26 miles an hour.
It didn't kill him.
It doesn't happen. He had to run over his head for him to die.
Yeah, he only had trauma to the head. So that means
John's head was pulverized.
You have a dead cop in the front yard of another cop.
Right.
That door is getting knocked on until he answers. If people are inside and they're not answering, that's going to look suspicious. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's going to look suspicious. So then if nobody ever comes out, they will wait because we're going to be at that scene all day.
Right.
All day, 10, 12, 15, 20 hours, right? Because not only is fatal coming out, homicide's coming out, right? Homicide details coming out, and those guys are good. They don't miss anything. Our homicide team solves like what, 92%, 93% of homicides here in Vegas. Our homicide is awesome. They're coming out. They're going to want to interview everybody.
Dude.
Everybody,
You know what
including
that is?
in the house.
Even Chloe.
But do you realize what that is, dude? 92, 93% of homicides in Vegas, dude. Like, all I think about now, I'm sure it's not like that nowadays, but I mean, it's got to be to some degree, not to the level that it was in that movie, but like I was just rewatching Casino, right? And you remember that scene near the beginning where they're like, where De Niro, his character is explaining how, and they show the helicopter shot or the airplane shot of Vegas, and then the dark surrounding desert around it, right? You know, all the lights in Vegas and then all this desert all around it, right? And it just seems like, dude, that's a high percentage of homicide solved in a place where it seems very easy to get rid of a body. You know what I mean? It just seems very easy to do that. Unless that movie's just exaggerating and I'm missing like one simple reason why that's just bullshit, you know? Which one of these guys would probably be able to tell me. But yeah, you know, that's all I got to go on his movies, really. So and past cases.
But to get into the house, there's not a big reason to get into the house, but
only if there's a blood trail.
Yeah, blood trail or a drag trail.
Right.
Dragging the body, right? Or carrying, and they're 2 sets of footprints, different shoes, you know, carrying the body out the backyard. That's the stuff they're going to look for, all that stuff. I don't know, you know, we are.
Right.
So we're going to eventually find, where do these footprints lead to?
The basement.
The basement of this house.
Yeah.
Now we're building probable cause. Now we're starting to build that. You know what? Whoever comes out of that door, as soon as that door opens, grab them. We step inside and we do what's called a premise freeze. The house is now.
Bro, they're not even.
The house. It's ours. Our house now until the detectives get there with.
They're not even talking about. These dudes aren't even talking about being like, hey, listen, are you the owner of this house? He's talking about straight up fucking Denzel fucking Training Day shit. Just grab the motherfucker, pull him out, and be like, this is our house right now because they got probable cause to enter the house. That's fucking wild, dude. Like, these guys are the not fucking around crew right here.
There with a warrant to go through it. So they could have done that. But as the suspicion builds, your probable cause will slowly build.
Okay.
But there's no way that a cop inside the house who says he didn't hear all that, and when people say we were in that house partying, there's no way he's not getting interviewed by homicide here. No way. He's absolutely getting interviewed. Everybody in that house would have been interviewed.
You can ask for consent to go into the house.
Yeah.
Right. And if they agree, they can let you in. Then you can just visualize what you can see as far as evidence is concerned. But up until you have enough probable cause to go into it, there's no reason to go into it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, he's safe in the house until probable cause is built enough for a search warrant. Yeah.
I see.
Unfortunately, that's the way it goes.
How does it make you feel seeing all this corruption happen?
Listen, we work so hard to maintain the public trust.
Yeah.
Really hard. And when something like this happens, it doesn't matter.
So make sure, I don't want to lead you guys to a misunderstanding here. What these guys are saying, they're saying, they're not saying that they could just fucking grab somebody and throw them out. They're saying they could do that if there's probable cause, and they gave examples of probable cause, which was like footprints or blood leading from into the basement, or you know what I mean, footprints from a drag mark, that are leading from a drag mark, that are leading to the basement, that kind of shit. That's the only thing. But other than that, then they have to go out. They have to go get a warrant. So that's what they're saying.
No matter what agency it is, it affects nationwide. It takes us back years.
Yeah.
You know, and public trust is the hardest thing to gain, especially when all we do is respond to bad situations.
Yeah.
You know, we're taking people's rights. What is it that you say?
We
Cost them money?
We cost them money. We cost them time, and we can take their life.
Yeah. So it's nothing good when we show up. So when I see something like that happen, I worry about my fellow officers that are still on job. You know, what kind of repercussions is this going to have to them? Now, unfortunately, for Proctor, he's done.
Right.
He is completely done as far as any career that he has, especially with social media these days. Now, if this happened
For
15, 20 years ago,
sure,
you go to
bro.
the next door agency and get the job that you had right before.
Proctor's
But now with social
booked.
media, it's you're almost hanging yourself.
Every one of those guys' career is over.
Yeah.
In law enforcement, every one of them is done. You know, it's not even if they'll never admit it, and we know the truth. You know what I mean? It's not rocket science.
No, it's not.
Every one of those guys, they're lying.
Don't be saying rocket science to Paul.
They're lying on the stand. They're lying under oath.
Yeah.
You know, everybody knows they're covering up, man. I mean, with all the evidence that we've got, I mean, come on, it's plain as day. So none of those guys are going to work in law enforcement ever again. And how do I feel about it? It pisses me off because you try to go your whole career doing the right thing. And, you know, even if you get in trouble or your buddy gets in trouble,
Fall on the sword, dude.
Fall on the sword. That's what we always say. Here at Metro, if you get caught lying during an investigation, it's an automatic termination.
Yep.
You're fired, gone, because they don't like liars. So here in Vegas, call the cops, man. We tell the truth. We tell the truth. Because
He might be my best friend, but if my job's on the line, sorry, pal.
Yeah. And I wouldn't do that to him. I wouldn't expect him to lie to cover for me and risk his career and his freedom because I messed up. So I'm going to take the bullet. I'm going to take the heat, and I'm going to take the rap.
You know what the easy way to avoid any of those kind of problems is? Do your job. Watch your partner's back. Do your job. And that's it. Both of you be on the up and up. And that's it. You have nothing to worry about. Do exactly what you swore to do. And you have nothing to worry about. In theory, you have nothing to worry about. Just fucking do your jobs. And there's no worry for having to fucking, you know, fall on your sword for someone else, you know, or take some sort of fucking heat because you lied for them. You know, you're grown-ups. You're not kids in a schoolyard. You know what I mean? So, you know, and the public depends on you as police officers. These guys understand this. And that's the thing is it's funny because it's like these dirty cops think that they just are entitled to that kind of respect, but they're not. These guys earn it because of their integrity. These guys have my respect simply because I'm hearing their views on these issues. Because they are confirming to me what an honest cop should be looking at these things as. So that makes me feel safe. I mean, I know they're in Vegas and I'm in Tennessee, but it makes me feel safe that there's cops like this out there. And I still feel like most of them are like this, you know? Like that's a hell of a job and it's a hell of a craft to master. If you can do that shit on the straight and narrow and be really good at it, man, that is a hell of an accomplishment in your life, man. You got some points with the people upstairs for that shit, you know? And you've got my undying gratitude for it. I absolutely love the idea of someone, you know, I respect so much the idea of someone so being brave enough to go out there and train to be the best physical person that they can be, to go out and protect me from crime, you know, get to the bottom of something that I need them to get to the bottom of, trust them to do that and do it thoroughly and with integrity. Keeps me in line. Somebody as a, you know, keeps the average person in check and behaving within the boundaries of the law because they respect, you know, I respect this so much that I don't want to be on the shit end of that. I don't want to be somebody that they throw in jail. You know, I want to be the person that buys them a drink. You know what I mean? So it makes me want to do better in my life. and be a better person. That's the kind of influence a law enforcement agent can have on someone. Because if you really have gratitude for the fact that there are people out there who go through the training of going out there and protecting us from violent crimes, it's refreshing, and it's something, these are soldiers. These are, domestic soldiers, So, that's how effective being good cops can be, is they earn the respect of people. People follow law because because they set an example of the law that makes you respect the law and makes you respect due process when it's happening correctly, gives you a respect for our justice system to some degree. And because you respect our justice system, it makes you want to fall in line with it, play your part, play your productive part of society. Because when you think about it, the principles of what our laws are based on are beautiful. Now, you're right. There was this one dude who, I say some pretty stupid things sometimes because I am lacking a formal education. And this is 100% true. And I might be a little self-conscious about it, but it's not something that really bothers me. Because I am aware of my intelligence, and I'm aware of my shortcomings as well. And it's really funny to me because, like, these people who will argue these very benign and very arbitrary semantic points, they miss the big picture. They all do. Because I know I'm not crazy when I see that there's a miscarriage of justice taking place. And the fact that they can beat me in a trivia game, but not seem to have the common sense to to see when someone's rights are absolutely being violated and not care and actually fight and troll the people who are fighting for it. That tells me everything I need to know. Knowing that there are guys out there like this, men and women out there like this, who enjoy and get and find fighting for these principles and for order, law and order, putting their life on the line for it is something that they're passionate about, something that they believe in. And I'm grateful for people like this. It's just sad when people people are the opposite, and it's crazy. You think you're entitled to that respect when you're a fucking dirty cop, but it's way more rewarding, I promise you, to really earn that respect the way that these guys do, I'm sure.
The rap, and I'm going to say, you know what? He had nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It doesn't stop there. All the cases that he was involved in are going to be persecuted, right?
Yep.
From the very beginning. So that department might be facing some big time lawsuits if some more dirt is uncovered.
Yep, big backlash too, boy.
And the thing is too is you might have a few officers on that department that are good guys, right? But knew of the antics that was going on. That's a heavy burden that they have to carry. Right. So however their internal investigation comes across to them and say, hey, you knew this and you didn't say anything, they can be terminated too. Because we have what's called failure to intervene.
Failure to intervene. Yep.
Wow.
Meaning if me and him are working and I'm beating sparks off of somebody and I'm like basically almost beating this guy to death, and if he doesn't stop me, he'll get fired too.
Is that national?
It is now.
Is it now?
It is now. Yeah.
It started.
I don't know about all that, Lady Tammy. And it's not a pissing contest for intelligence. That's not how I want to make that out to be. It's just really funny. Because I noticed there are some people, and I doubt that, Lady Tammy. I'm sure you're very intelligent. But and thank you so much. But it's like, it was like that one lady that was in the chat talking about, I have an education, a career, or what was it? It was like, I have a family, a career, and friends, you know, and like she was basically judging that to be like the standard for success, you know, and it's like, man, you know, who are you to judge what somebody's, you know, every individual person in here has, and I know I'm going off subject and off on a tangent here, but I'm going to do it anyway. Everyone here has a right to their own viewpoints and their own opinions and their own standards. And whatever your standard is for success, a successful life, then, you know, that's up to you to decide whether or not you're living up to it. You know what I mean? But that's not for anybody else to judge. You know, it's not for me to judge what your standards in life are, you know, unless it affects me in some way. You know what I mean? Like, if you live alone and you're a fucking slob, that's your prerogative, dude. But if you live with other people and and those other people are neat freaks, well, then you have to be considerate of the fact that they're neat freaks. That's, you know what I mean? But you have a right to be a fucking slob if you want to. Nobody has the right to judge you for it. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't bathe, but you hang around people, then yeah, you should fucking bathe, bro. But if you fucking sit around in your house all goddamn day, dude, who gives the fuck? Is there anybody to tell you need to take a shower? You know, if you don't fucking want to take a shower for a week, that's your business. You know what I mean? So it's just like, to hear people say things like, oh, well, I have a family, a career, you know, like, okay, great. But how fucked up is it that you have a career, you probably went to college and you wasted all this money, you're probably still in debt over that college education, and you can't even understand something as simple as the concept of chain of command, or chain of custody, excuse me. Something as simple as the concept of chain of custody. You know what I mean? What the fuck good? Like, how are you trying to convince me that you're more intelligent than someone else because you have a college education, when you're somebody who you're telling me and you're throwing that in my face and you're saying, okay, well, yeah, you went to college for 4 or 8 years just to be consistently fucking wrong on things that are just in your face, blatantly, things that you refuse to actually acknowledge that are in your face. The fuck good is that college education then? You know what I mean? Yeah, like, just who gives a fuck? You know? Don't ever let anybody fucking judge you for life decisions and shit, man. Like, it's your life. Like, it doesn't affect them, you know? Just when they try to bum money off you, just tell them to fuck off. That's all. That's it. That's the most that you get to fucking tell somebody how to live their life. Like, yeah, if somebody tries to bum money off you, dude, then you get to tell them to go fuck off, you know? Like, but other than that, you know what I mean? Like, you don't get to fucking tell somebody how to live their life, man. Dude, my chair just started sinking, dude.
Started here
years ago,
like 2013,
yeah.
maybe 15. It started here about 10 years ago, give or take. Because at first we were like, duty intervening. Like, you know, when it first comes out, you're like, I'm not telling a senior officer what to do. Like, if he's beating sparks, maybe there's a reason he is. But then you learn quickly, like, you got to step in. And I actually had a guy step in when I was dumping on the dude and grab me. And he goes, whoa, nice job, buddy. He goes, go take a break. We got this.
Yeah.
And I was like a 1-year cop, and I didn't even realize it, but the guy was hitting. He was unconscious.
What happened?
we had a big pursuit. He caused a lot of damage. He hurt a lot of people. I was a new cop, so did I take it personal? Yeah. And he punched me.
Well, the thing is too, I mean, listen, that department's old school. It really is. For us, the old guys retire. But when I got on, and my very first foot pursuit, when I was a rookie, you know, I ended up catching the guy. My sergeant comes up to me. He goes, "Why is he not going to the hospital?" I go, "Well, he's out of breath. He's okay, though." He goes, "Gonzo, nobody that runs with us does not go to the hospital. If they run, they're going to the hospital." But that dynamic has changed dramatically to where it's a kinder, gentler department. And that's fine. Because, you know, ultimately, we have the power to take somebody's life. And that's the last thing we want to do.
Yeah.
Right?
So, you take the freedom. You take someone's freedom. That's a big deal.
It really is.
You know, not that we ran around just beating people up. Metro had a really good reputation of, look, man, we don't play games. Okay, we ask you, we tell you, we make you.
Yeah,
and it's going to be very violent, but that's how you stay safe.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this quick story. When the tasers came out,
these guys are just straight up
in the Latin community.
These guys are just straight up like, yeah, you're gonna get beat up a little bit, you know, but it's so we can stay safe.
Community, they were known as lasers, not tasers, because they couldn't say the tasers. They said, "They're going to go around, they're going to shoot you with the lasers."
At Northeast, they called it the chair.
What?
Yeah. The electric chair. Yeah. Like, don't give me the chair, man. I had guys at gunpoint. They're like, "I don't give a shit. Shoot me." You pull out the taser, they're like, "Oh, shit. Okay." It's funny. They didn't care about a gun because they know we're not going to shoot them.
Right,
but the taser, we can tase them.
50,000 volts of pure love.
Oh,
that's what it is.
Why do you
Yeah,
think so many
they
good
know you
cops
can
stay
tase
silent?
them.
So this is what I think. I think that the corruption runs deep and high.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that an officer that is on the good side, if he goes show support, he might have repercussions coming his way. And not necessarily in a bad way, but hey, you're not going to be doing foot patrol.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just in my opinion. Right? But if the corruption runs deep, shit runs downhill. So they want to stay away from that shit. This is one of the few jobs besides the military that you will die for somebody that you completely don't even know.
That's right.
Trying to help them,
Yep.
you know, and that's a consequence that, you know, Brian and I both, you know, took it on. But here in Las Vegas, when an officer goes down, it's a citywide morning. I mean, his pictures, P numbers on the billboards.
The strip will go blue.
Yep.
The whole strip, all the casinos will turn their lights blue. Like, it's a big deal here. Like, there's not much of a bigger deal than it would happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's easier for them just to not say anything and appear not to take a side.
Yep.
It could be. They just want to get it over with, let it disappear, and be done.
Listen, mud is on their face. Mud is on their hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
You like that?
I do like that.
How much experience do you guys have working with the feds? And are you aware of the federal investigation in this case?
I'm aware of it. We're aware of it. And listen, you're not going to hear anything about what's going on with the feds. When it's done, you're going to see how deep this web really runs. Because they're going to dig every stone, turn every stone, and dig every cave. They're just going to dig deep. So when the feds come out, and the DOJ is involved as well.
You see what I'm saying? Like, they're right there. They're confirming everything that I've been telling you guys. Right there you're not going to know shit, you know. But make no mistake, they're coming, dude. It's happening. Like, it's going to take a long time because they have a lot to investigate. It's like, dude, I guarantee you, if these people are corrupt, man, they've got their hand in so many cookie jars, it's not even funny. You know, you've got the Karen Reed case and the Brian Walsh case and a couple other cases, but there's so many beyond that too. We're talking about an entire DA's office, you know? Like, there's a lot of fucking shit going on. Guaranteed. And it's going to take a long time to put a solid case together.
It's going to be a shitstorm.
But we've never had to deal with the feds on our side.
No, anytime I dealt with the feds out on certain calls, if I needed to call them or they responded, it was, you know, they're good people. Yeah, they're good people. But why are we going to hear anything about this, like in the news or anything? Nope. You're not going to hear anything until the feds have everything shut tight. And they're like, all right, this is what we have. This is what happened. And here's who's going to jail.
Prison.
You know, unless the corruption, I mean, the FBI, I mean, you know, nowadays when you look at the NSA and CIA and FBI, Secret Service, ATF, it's I don't know. I don't diss on them by any means. It just doesn't mean what it used to mean 10, 20, 30 years ago. Yeah. It's almost like sometimes they almost seem weaponized for certain things. And you know, I don't like it. But, you know, what can I do?
Right.
But if the feds and the DOJ are going to go after them, if they're honest, it is going to be a lot to uncover, and it's going to get bad. It's really going to be bad for those officers.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm concerned about, is that maybe it runs so deep that they just decide we can't take down the whole state of Massachusetts. I mean, these people might be all connected, you know, like in politics and law enforcement and the judiciary.
It could be that wild. Like, we don't really know, right? I mean, it could be some kind of crazy, wild story, and everyone's like, holy shit. Like, wow.
I'll tell you,
we don't know. It could be something simple. It seems like it's pretty simple, right? Either the love triangle or dirty cops, and John was going to rat him out, and they thumped him.
I'm going to say something that's probably not going to be too popular, but I'm going to say it anyway. So when you have one of your first officers up there commit suicide, then you know something's deep.
With the ones that are in trouble, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, or somebody that might not be directly in trouble, but just involved in the situation.
Interesting.
And he happens to take his life because he knows he's going to prison.
Yeah, that'd be something.
If the dots connect, it ain't a conspiracy. If the dots connect, it's not a theory.
That's right.
It is what it is.
The evidence.
It is what it is.
We deal with
I mean?
evidence.
Yeah, I connect dots, and if it's looks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's a duck. Now you can lie all you want, but again, it's hard to cheat evidence.
And it's hard to keep a lie up.
And it's hard to keep a lie with that many people going on and on.
You
and
see
on.
what I mean about the gaslighting? You know, like these guys are such a breath of fresh air because you gaslit to the point to where, because we're objective people, because we actually want to get to the truth, because we're passionate about justice for Officer John O'Keefe, you know, we still question ourselves. There's no way to responsibly do this unless you question yourself. You see something, you look at it, and you look at it objectively to make sure that you got it right, because you don't want to be unfair. You don't want to be misinformed. You don't want to go down a wrong path. You want to make sure that you're on the right path at all times. Like Olivia Nile on Twitter is very careful of that. It's fantastic to watch. But you want to be on the right path of things at all times. So in order to do that, you constantly have to question yourself, not just everything else. You do have to question everything, but you have to question yourself as well. You have to include yourself in that everything. It's extremely irresponsible if you do not do that. So I get like when I hear these guys say things like this, man, it's so refreshing because, you know, you hear so much and you spend so much time on Twitter and you hear so much negativity. You hear so many people going, you're fucking crazy. These free Karen Reed people are such fucking crazy morons, blah, blah, blah. You know, simply because we're saying these things that he's saying, and we haven't had enough former law enforcement say it, you know. Like we've heard plenty of attorneys, but not a lot of law enforcement, you know. And the law enforcement has been disappointing. Either some of them just took way damn too long to talk about it, and others just ended up just lying, you know, just lying and saying, oh, I looked into it. They didn't look into it. And then they get their words from Twattendorfer and then go, okay, yeah, she's guilty, you know, and you're just like, wait a minute, man, you're an ex-cop, you know? So it's such a breath of fresh air to hear these guys talk about this the way that they are, because you're being it's such a double-edged sword, because it's such a catch-22, because you want to be, you're genuinely in search for the truth. You have to be objective and you have to question even yourself. And the irony in that is you get to a point where you ask yourself, am I crazy? Part of that self-evaluation is asking yourself, am I just being paranoid? You know, am I just allowing my imagination get the best of me? And, you know, so, you know what I mean? And, you know, us normal people, it's dismissed immediately. You know what I mean? But it's so validating to hear these two officers say the things that make you, you know, go, okay, all right, that's not just some shit that I saw on TV. You know what I mean? That's not just me, you know, not understanding how law enforcement works and just spitting shit out because I'm not a cop and I don't know any better. And I'm putting these guys to these expectations that I don't know the reasons why they can't live up to them, because I'm not a cop and I don't have a right to talk about it, you know? So it's refreshing to hear these guys basically tell me, you know, the way that they're explaining it, they're basically telling me, you know, yeah, this is what you should have expected from this investigation. Absolutely what you should have expected from this investigation.
Right. Can you guys talk a little bit about internal affairs? So we know that their internal affairs for the Mass State Police are looking at Proctor and Tully and Buchanan. But I kind of get the sense that they're only covering their own ass because they waited till the trial was over to announce that they're looking into Proctor, which leads me to believe that if Aaron was found guilty, he might have just got off. And they wouldn't have done anything, right? They said the day after the trial, we immediately took action and opened an investigation of Michael Proctor's activity, and they're focusing it on the text messages when we know there's so much more they could be looking at. Is internal affairs, are they really looking for the truth, or are they kind of just to cover their own ass and talk to the media?
Well, their feet are to the fire, right? They have to do something,
maybe,
right? So
maybe they're dirty just like everybody else.
They could be very dirty as well. And they're just trying to do what they can to CYA their butt, like you're saying. But a real good internal affairs, man, they're going to go after the cop. They're going to find out what.
Now, just for the record, folks, he didn't say that internal affairs was dirty. He just presented the possibility to consider that they might be, they could be. Who knows? Maybe they are. They didn't say that they were, though. Just for the record.
He violated. If he violated any civil rights of the person, right? They're going to hammer him that way. But that's if you have a clean IB department.
Yeah, if they're dirty. I mean, you got to remember, IA is the police of the police, right? Kind of. They can get away with more than a lot of other people.
Yeah.
They can get away with a lot. Yeah. Right. Especially if you're high up in IA, captain or whatever, you could do a lot of damage.
Make that event go away.
Yeah. Even in Vegas, I would have to say IA could do some things if they wanted to, because no one really looks into IA, right?
Yeah.
And that's the problem with IA, right? Nobody really looks into them.
Nobody's watching IA.
Now Vegas does. We do have something. I'm not going to say anything, but we do have something to keep
them at bay.
To keep them at bay.
Who's internal affairs of the internal affairs?
They could have absolutely just said, you know what? If she goes to prison, we're good.
Yeah.
If she doesn't, you guys are screwed.
Yep.
So you better get her in prison. You better make this look good. Easily could have happened that way. Easily the head person in charge said, make this go away right now, or you're going to prison. I could see that happening just like that. Or they could say, let's play it where it lies. Let's see what happens.
There's going to be some sacrificial lambs.
There's going to be some sacrificial lambs. And then once the news hit and Proctor and everybody is totally just making fools of themselves, now he's like, okay, we got to do something. We got to do something. This dude's
the best we got.
We got to do something.
Yeah.
So
that's what it feels like.
Yeah, it could kind of go either way. I would hope that they're not dirty and they're actually now they're just saying, you know what, we better look into this. This is now we're starting to really look bad.
I mean, that's come on, that's what's going on. I'm not saying that internal affairs is dirty. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that the timing is really convenient. It seems like as soon as the pressure was on, because I mean, you're going to tell me they weren't aware. They were aware of those text messages before the trial, weren't they? You know what I mean? They were aware. They were aware of who was on the receiving end of those text messages as well, who was interacting in that text thread. They were aware of all that. The only difference is the trial was public. They knew it already. You know what I mean? The only difference is the trial was public, and now the public is going to demand justice for this. The public demand that the Massachusetts State Police do something about this misconduct. That's why they did it. So yes, they absolutely did it for show. They absolutely did it because they were pressured by the public to do it. There's no mistaking this. It's all in the timing.
They probably thought it wasn't going to be as big.
Exactly.
As it was. So now the whole nation knows about it. So now they're under the microscope. They better do their job or they will not have jobs.
Interesting. Speaking of that, what's the process to terminate a police officer, and how does the union come into play with that?
Well,
I've never been fired, so I don't.
Yeah, me neither. But I mean, I've been on some. I've spoken at a couple people's arbitrations. Like October 1st, I was one of the guys who went through the door on October 1st here. Saw a lot of cowards that night. A lot of cowards, and some of them got fired.
I'm sorry. What are you referring to?
It's just the biggest mass murder in Las Vegas.
October 1st, the October 1st shooting here in Vegas. Jason Aldean, remember? Biggest active shooter in U.S. history.
At that concert?
It was the Route 91 active shooter.
1 October.
It happened on 1 October 2017.
Gotcha. Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's all good. Where the suspect was shooting outside of Mandalay Bay. He was in the hotel room and he was shooting down onto the crowd.
Yes.
He shot like over 500 people that night. So I was up there anyway.
Wow.
Arbitration.
Yeah. If it depends on what the charges are. You can get put on admin leave with pay. You can get put on admin leave without pay. That's usually without pay is you messed up. You violated somebody. You basically committed a crime. And that's when they're going to get you with admin leave without pay. And that's what I believe Proctor, he might be without pay now with everything that's come out. They probably put him on admin leave with pay first. Now it's probably without pay because they're saying, dude, you really messed up. The union in Vegas, the union will protect you unless you commit a crime.
Yeah.
If you commit a crime
and charged with it,
and you're charged with it, like let's say me and Gonzo go out and we commit armed robbery as cops, right? We put up, we rob somebody. The union's gonna be like,
done.
No. So they can kind of pick and choose who they want to represent, as long as if you committed a crime, they're not going to represent you. So depending on the situation after that, it's actually pretty easy to get fired, because if the sheriff says, "Look, I want him gone," and it meets the matrix, like if it's that serious,
he has the final say.
The sheriff has the final say, and if the sheriff says you're fired, you're fired. Now, then you can go to arbitration
and try to get a job back.
And the two lawyers battle it out, and you try to get your job back. That has happened a bunch of times here with Metro. I helped a guy.
Yeah, like let's just face the facts here. This Kevin Albert stuff is some bullshit. Let's just face the facts here. This Kevin Albert stuff is not okay. I mean, one thing that I'm concerned about, here's now, do I think that there is corruption within the Massachusetts State Police? Sure. Do I think that the Massachusetts State Police is corrupt? I don't know. Do I think that there's corruption within the Canton Police Department? Absolutely. Do I think that the Canton Police Department is corrupt? Absolutely. Absolutely. Without a doubt. I watched Chief Rafferty ask for, I think it was 100,000. That's I never get the number right. I think it was 100 grand for a new kitchen. And then I watched a trial where they said that they didn't even have evidence bags. You know what I mean? Or was it 200,000? Olivia, you would know better. $200,000 for a kitchen. For a kitchen for the Canton Police Department. And then we watched a trial where more than one officer testified that they didn't have necessary resources to collect and preserve evidence. And they also didn't have the training for preserving evidence either. They weren't qualified to preserve evidence. But the $200,000 that the chief of police is asking the Canton Select Board for, which Chris Albert sits on, is for a kitchen at the police station. Right. I mean, that's got money laundering written all over it. Now, I'm not saying that that's exactly what's going on, but it sure fucking stinks of it, doesn't it? That absolutely stinks of fucking Benjamins and Tide. Fucking Snuggle Bear with the goddamn fucker with a goddamn big old $100 bill. I mean, that's what it stinks of. I mean, I don't know if that's the case, but it sure fucking stinks of it, doesn't it? When we know that the police department has these needs, right? Is lacking these resources, and then there's $200,000 asked for by the Canton taxpayer to install a $200,000 new kitchen for the Canton Police Department, and right before the audit, right? Absolutely. Yeah, I've heard that rumor too. Again, that's just a rumor. I don't have any evidence of that, of DNE being a money laundering place. I don't know. But here's the thing about it is it's fair to ask that question. Like, normally I just be like, dude, because I know a lot of people are like, dude, it's a fucking pizza shop, dude. And like, it's bad enough that people fucking leave those mediocre fucking pizza reviews on Google for DNE and you know what I mean? It's bad enough, blah, blah, blah. It's just a pizza shop. Don't need to spread those rumors. And I agree. The problem with that is all I'm saying is that it's fair to ask those questions. And the only reason it's fair to ask those questions is because we've seen the behavior of Chris Albert, the proprietor of DNE Pizza. We've seen his behavior. So he's due to his own behavior, he has made it 100% fair game to ask these kind of questions, because what kind of proprietor of a successful pizza shop, A, doesn't pay taxes until they're called out for it, and then B, makes absolutely no effort whatsoever to maintain image standards, minimum image standards that any food serving establishment would have if they wanted to have repeat customers. The existence of Jim Ferris at DNE Pizza tells me that Chris Albert does not rely on the income of DNE Pizza to live. Is that unfair to say? Considering that I have worked in pizza management a good portion of my life. Considering that, what I've seen and what I've heard about DNE Pizza and what I've seen with my own eyes, that's not indicative of someone who is interested in the image of their business and relies on it for their income. It's not. Like, when you think about it, I've talked about this before. Like, when you think about it, you see Chris Albert threatening Turtle Boy outside of the shop. You see how he's dressed, you know, taking no pride in his appearance as the proprietor. And then you have Jim Ferris, who assaults Turtle Boy. He's chain smoking cigarettes. Turtle Boy says that he smells offensive. And this guy is walking up to people's doorsteps and exchanging money and food with people. And there's no, this guy seems to have like a tenure at DNE Pizza where he can do whatever the fuck he wants. He can dress however he wants. He can smell however he wants, you know, and it doesn't fucking matter to Chris Albert's sales. Chris Albert doesn't give a fuck about how this person's mere existence and being almost a mascot for that place. That's basically what Jim Ferris has become. He's become a mascot. Why do I know who Jim Ferris is? And when I think of Jim Ferris for DNE Pizza, I think of some surreal comedy show where the mascot is like the Shoney's. It's like the Shoney's kid or Ronald McDonald, right? That's what Jim Ferris is to DNE Pizza. But negatively, it's a parody. It's a fucking joke. It's now, you know, you have the tagline it wouldn't matter if Chris Albert has a tagline that says fresh and hot, straight to the cot, you know, like, or something like that. You know what I mean? That would be forgotten because now the tagline is mediocre pizza or mediocre chicken parm. That's it. It's synonymous with the name DNE Pizza. Mediocre, the word mediocre is now synonymous with that business, people. I want you to think about that for a second. Blood pizza as well. It's also referred to as blood pizza. Thank you, Microdots. It's also referred to as blood pizza. Synonymous DNE Pizza, synonymous with blood pizza and mediocre. And you're going to tell me that this dude's business is successful, that he's able to live in this nice ass house? The fuck out of my face, bro. Like, come on. Like, dude, in the 90s in Miami, you saw a 22-year-old driving around in a fucking Mercedes or a Caddy with fucking bling. He was selling coke. You know what I mean? Like, he ain't got no job. You see him fucking driving around, just rolling around the neighborhood, you know, with fucking bass fucking blaring from his fucking car. Like, he's selling blow. You know what I mean? And when I see a guy who sits on the Canton Select Board, who runs a pizza shop, that seems like, I mean, it gives me fucking, like, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Desperado, the movie Desperado. Antonio Banderas and Desperado, directed by Robert Rodriguez. Remember the bar that Cheech and the singer, the frontman for Tito and Tarantula, were bartenders for, right? Well, the dude from Tito and Tarantula just sat at the bar, but he, you know, and Cheech was the bartender, right? And you remember how they were like, oh, there was like those college girls, and she was like, the beer tastes like piss. And then he was like, we know, because we pissed in it, right? Because they don't give a fuck. You know why they don't give a fuck? Because they worked for fucking Bucho. They worked for fucking Bucho, dude. Bucho was the fucking crime boss of that part of Mexico. And the place was a front. You know what I mean? So when I see DNE Pizza not giving a fuck about its image, not giving a fuck about whether or not they have repeat customers, you know what I mean? Like, when I see that shit happening, I'm like, how the fuck does this dude afford the shit that he's got? How does he afford his lifestyle? Yeah, so blowing this Karen Reed thing wide open is going to fuck with a lot of people's wallets if people's theories are correct. If people's theories are correct, and this and there's that level of corruption, that's what's going to happen. U.S. Attorney Josh Levy's coming, and this Karen Reed thing, and Karen Reed having this defense, is Karen Reed having this defense. And make sure to sub to Microdots. That's Microdots video. I'm not gonna here. I'll share the here's the link to it. Make sure to sub up to Microdots and give this video a like. Yeah, man. Yeah, of course. See, I'm not getting into that shit. You know, I don't know nothing about no fucking, like, it's an after hours club and you need a code name, you know, and then like everybody's fucking spanking each other with spike paddles and shit. Like, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's a thing. All I know is the dude's doing pretty good for a pizza joint that he doesn't give a fuck about the image. Doesn't seem to give a fuck about any sales whatsoever. Oh, I don't know. I forgot. We talked about it. Microdots has to know, or Scott McGinnis knows. I know Scott McGinnis knows for sure. Olivia. Olivia is asking if anybody knows what ended up happening with the assault charges on Jill Daniels and Jim Ferris. Oh, no decision yet if they will be charged. Okay, thank you, Microdots. So Microdots is saying that there's no decision yet on what on if they'll be charged. So I was going to go over something else and I forgot what it was. Yeah, like I totally fucking forgot what it was. Let me see. God, there's just so much. God, I can't wait till this fucking election's over. It's so fucking annoying. Like I can't help but comment about certain things. Like I just can't help it. But god damn it, like it's also like just driving me crazy seeing all the shit, about Trump and Kamala. Like it's like god damn it. People are so on their soapboxes. It's just a lot. It's just, it's a lot, man. Yeah, these people, and they cite fucking like. All right, you know what? Yeah. All right. Let's see if anybody, I mean, there's not a lot of people in here, but let's see if anybody wants to call. Numbers right there. So we'll see if anybody wants to call. We've held 400 people in here strong this whole time. So let's just see. It's getting late, so, I still got a little bit of coffee left, so I got time to take a call or two.
Call from.
Hey,
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Will, it's Jason from Alabama again. How you doing, brother?
What's up, Jason from Alabama again?
How's it going, man?
It's going all right. Starting to get tired.
Excellent. I know it's about that. It's about that time, ain't it?
Yeah, it's getting late.
All right, so listen, don't call me crazy or some crazy conspiracy theorist or something, but I had an epiphany, okay? And this is what I'm thinking. I really think that Karen Reed is being put through the ringer
Jason,
because-
you're crazy.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Well, I know that. Yeah, roll tide. But anyway, I feel like they're being Karen Reed is being put through the ringer because they know the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the Norfolk County, whatever fucking county she lives in, they know that when all this dust settles, Karen Reed's going to get paid. So they're trying everything they can to avoid that. Does that make sense?
If they were trying everything they can to avoid that, they wouldn't be violating her civil rights one after the other. Like, still.
Well, so that's my point. But that's the thing. They're trying to double down. They're
Right,
doubling down.
right.
Down. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
because they've reached the point of no return where it's just like there's already grounds to, you know what I mean? Like, so they might as well take this all the way and do the best they can to try and get a conviction. You know.
So hear me out. Like, I know it's very lopsided, but do you remember Making a Murder on Netflix with Stephen Avery out in Wisconsin?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing. Like Stephen Avery went to prison one time.
Now it's been a few years since I watched it, and I used to drink a lot.
Yeah, me too. I'm drunk right now. But anyway, roll tide. But anyway, all right. So Stephen Avery went to prison, and he got out, and he got this big old settlement. And right before he got the settlement, he got thrown back in jail. My point is, a bunch of people out in Wisconsin where he was living was saying, man, we can't give this fucking hillbilly $40 million. We got to find a way to keep it away from him. And I feel like that's where they're at right now with Stephen, or with Karen Reed. They're like, God damn, when the dust settles, this woman going to get paid. So we got to do everything we can. We got to do everything we can to
get
keep her from getting that
bro.
money.
Like all this money she's spending on, and I mean, think about it. Like she's putting everything she's got into it, and she's also getting support from a lot of people, you know. So
hell, I sent her money. I sent her money, and I'm sitting here in Alabama.
Well, she needs it, you know, and the whole thing is like when this is all over, considering because we only need to keep sending her money because she keeps going through this. You know what I mean? So because they keep putting her through this. So every bit of money that she's fucking spending, man, like she's gonna be liable to get back, and then she's gonna looking at a big fucking payday, man. Because she's gonna get the right lawyers for that shit too. I guarantee you.
So I feel like Microdots has a good point here. It's between the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and what fucking county is this again? Norfolk County? What counties?
Norfolk.
Right. So it's between the Commonwealth with all the state troopers and Trooper Proctor and all this bullshit. It's between the Commonwealth, the county, and egos involved are saying we will do whatever we can do to keep her from winning, you know. And they're doubling down over and over and over again.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, that's exactly what they're doing.
Am I crazy? You can tell me because I think your viewers is laughing at my country ass.
Here's the thing: is I'm not saying that I totally agree with you, but I'm also saying that I'm a realist, and I live by the understanding that the answer to 99 out of 100 questions is what? Money.
Right.
So
it's always money, bro. It's always follow the money.
Right.
Follow the money.
So you always see if there's money to be made, and there you've got a motive, if there is, for something. You know,
it's either money to be made or money to be paid,
or money that they're afraid of losing.
Exactly.
Right. So money to protect.
That's why. Well, I could tell you right now, if I think the Powerball was up to 800 million. If I wanted, I'd pay every damn bit of Alan Jackson's and David Yanetti's money right now.
I play the lotto. I play the lotto every time I get my hair cut. So what I do is I just I go and then I buy a ticket because I can only pay with cash. So I buy a ticket. So I can have money for a tip, and I break money, so I could tip the barber, and I always buy a Powerball ticket. So one of these days, you know, but dude, I'll tell you, if I fucking hit that Powerball one day, the kind of shit that the universe doesn't allow me to have that kind of fucking money, dude. Like, The universe
Dude,
knows better. You know what I mean? God, whatever you want to call it, God says, there's no way that there's a responsible God up there that says, give that guy a shit ton of money. Because
so Will, listen, that's
I
where we
will
differ,
do
my
the
brother.
most ridiculous fucking like relentless shit when it comes to like,
Right.
first of all, I would take care of this whole case. Like I would make sure
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm not saying that I would pay for Karen's defense. I'm not saying all that. I'm saying
I would.
I mean, I might. It depends on how much money's there, but I'm going to think about what I'm saying is what I mean by that is it's not that I would hesitate from helping in that way. I would make sure that the money is well put towards whatever needs to be done to, you know what I mean? Like whatever needs to be done, billboards, you know, everything. Like I would blast everywhere. I would spend so much money on making sure to create awareness of this case. Like,
no, I wouldn't even need the Powerball, but I'd be that crazy son bitch with like a big old dump truck with Karen Reed signs all over it, dumping shit all over at the courthouse. That'd be me right there. I don't even need $1 million for that. I'd be doing that.
I would flood the interstates in Massachusetts with like troll Morrissey billboards and Tully and Proctor, and I would just do that shit. Like I would just I would make memes and put them on billboards all down Massachusetts on the interstate.
You know, the people up yonder where, you know, in Massachusetts, they make fun of people like me, but let me tell you, some bitch like Morrissey, man, the people around here would not put up with that bullshit, man. They'd be like, you got to get this son bitch out of here. We ain't got time for somebody dicking around like that.
And everybody's armed too. You know, like
yeah.
Everybody here in the South is armed. Like that shit doesn't fly here, dude. That kind of shit doesn't fly here, dude. Like
I've never been scared of in my life. I've never been scared of no man, but my 90-pound soaking wet mama, she carries a 45 in her purse. I'm more scared of her than any man alive. Let me tell you, Granny too. My granny shot up.
I'm trying to tell you.
My granny shot up. My granny during the gas crisis of like the 80s, early 80s, my granny shot a hole in the door with a double barrel shotgun because somebody trying to siphon gas out of her old car. You know, shit. I'm more scared of the Southern women than the men.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I'm telling you, man. Like, I'm telling you, dude. You like don't fuck with a Southern woman. Don't fuck with a Hispanic woman. Don't do that.
Oh God, no. I learned that lesson. Don't fuck with no Hispanic woman, man. They'll cut your ass. I got the scar to prove it, man. Hispanic panic. That Hispanic panic is real, bro.
I've got from a Peruvian girl. She fucking took a Gatani blade at me, man. Straight up, like it happened.
So anyway, all right. I won't keep you. I know your listeners are probably making fun of me, but it's all the truth, man.
They love you, man. They love you. Man. They love you, man.
Well, I'll call you again next time. Don't worry.
Absolutely, I love it.
Have a great night. Right. Hey, by the way, I do have a very quick, serious question. Do you like the St. Louis Cardinals? Is that why you wear the hat?
Yeah. I mean, I don't follow sports real closely, but you know, if I'm rooting for a ball team, it's St. Louis. You know.
Well, that's actually growing up in Alabama. We only had 4 channels, so if the president was on, our night was fucked. But anyway, I loved watching the St. Louis Cardinals when they beat up the Cubs because one of the only channels we had was WGN, so I got to see the Cardinals beat up the Cubs.
Yeah, man.
So all right, you have a good night. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Jason. Enjoy. Cheers, buddy.
Call from.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
Joanna, 12th floor.
What's up, Joanna?
Hi. Oh my God, I can't believe I got on. It's like I'm in Arizona.
Okay.
And I can't even believe you're live right now at 2 a.m. We're in Tennessee. Is it like 2?
Yeah, it's 2. It's 2:11 here.
Oh my God, I love it. Well, thanks for picking up. That was like the most random shot. I'm a night nurse.
Well,
and I always listen to the replay at night during my shift.
Nice. So what's up,
You got a
Joanna?
big following out here in Arizona.
Really?
Yeah, believe it or not.
I don't believe it, but okay. That's awesome.
We've had standouts. We've had standouts, Karen Reed standouts out here in Phoenix.
Oh, really? Right on.
Yeah, man. Hey, don't fuck with Italian chicks either.
Yeah, that's a good point
We'll
too.
catch
Yes,
ya.
I left them out. Yes. Yeah. Facts.
Man, thanks for covering everything the way you do. Not only like understanding it the way it is, but going down there, getting in the courtroom, getting all up everybody's ass.
Yeah, it's great, man. I'm gonna go back at some point. I just don't know when. Like I said, it just basically all depends on how much money I spend on this trip that I got lined up. But
Are you
yeah.
going out of the country?
No, not going out of the country, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm gonna spend a little time with family I haven't seen in a while, and it's good stuff. Gonna have some fun.
Nice. Well, I guess I'm looking forward to the coverage of until this cockamamie bullshit trial, or not, or the appeal going through, or
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean,
this is a mess.
yeah, this is wild, man. Like, I really hope it doesn't go to trial again, but you know, I'm still like, my curiosity is also pretty overwhelming as to like, what the fuck do they think they're gonna pull in a second trial? Like, how do they think they're gonna pull that off?
Who's gonna testify?
You know?
And I'm like more interested a little bit. I mean, maybe it's like my dirty side or whatever, that for the civil case, like, can the lawyers do some really creative stuff when it comes to like subpoenaing the McAlberts, or like getting, I feel like there's got to be some loopholes in there in that stupid civil case that makes no sense, but it seems to me like they left themselves open for some serious testimony that might not help the case, but might, expose a lot more deeper,
Well,
Sean McDonough shit or whatever.
I'll tell you, if this case doesn't go to trial again, that fucking lawsuit is fucked. There's no chance of them winning that.
I think it's fucked anyway, because didn't
I think so
family,
too, but like, any chance of it is gone if the
Yeah,
trial doesn't, if
no.
this second trial doesn't happen.
So here's the thing: was there never ever like there was never a police report for DUI? There was never damage to the car report. There's never an insurance claim. First of all, like, so the ARCA guys, they never even said that there was an insurance claim in. So how could the ARCA guys be insurance based anyway? Second of all,
I just don't think that they were, the thing is I'm not trying to make excuses for the jury, but the issue is that there's so much information with this case. This case is so crazy and so confusing, and the defense, Karen Reed's defense is so complicated. There's so many ins and outs to it that to a jury, it's very easy for them, not knowing anything about the case, to see this as a trick for the defense to confuse the jury, and for them to be on the defense.
We saw the ARCA guys as a way to derail us, like derail you from innocent or derail you from guilty. I didn't get that. Like, because you were super on track before the ARCA guys came up.
Well, to distract, like, they felt like that was a ploy from the defense to distract, and they it's just that the idea that think about how absurd.
It was so out there.
Think about how absurd the idea. No, indulge me for a second, Joanna. Think about how absurd it seems if nobody told you that the FBI was investigating the actual district attorney that was prosecuting that case. That's
I
not
think
a
that's the most appealable issue.
that's not a thought that is going to enter your mind when you're a juror. You're not going to guess that. That's not going to be something on your list of guesses to try to make sense of why those ARCA guys are there. You know what I mean?
I know, but I'm also
when
not
you
an
see those
engineer.
ARCA guys, when you see those ARCA guys testify, that's not going to be an option that comes into your mind. What's going to come into your mind is, okay, well, then maybe they're insurance guys. The defense brought them on for some reason, and probably to distract. I mean, who the fuck are these guys? You know, if you can't explain the nature of why they conducted these experiments to try to determine whether or not John O'Keefe was struck by Karen Reed's vehicle, if you can't explain why they were there in the first place, they're going to seem like a show. They're going to seem like a big elaborate
show. And the
show.
Cannon thing, I love the Cannon thing. I love the Cannon clip because it's funny and it was a break in the monotony. But like the coming out first with we made a cannon to pitch a glass at the back
they
of the
thought
car,
Turtle Boy hired them.
They didn't. That's insane. That's 100% banana pancakes or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't believe.
Where did they get that from?
I can't believe
they had to have gotten that from something. From somewhere.
That's an appealable issue. That's a huge appealable issue. And the appealable issue, number one to me, is not allowing the FBI. How is that not pertinent to a case? How even if they just mentioned it in passing, I think it's like criminal. I think it's criminal.
The fact that was kept out,
in the first place.
I agree. I agree 100%. I think that is a huge red flag on Judge Beverly Canody's integrity.
And everybody said we acquitted them on 1 and 3, and also had we known the FBI was involved, I mean, it would have confirmed everything they had suspicions of.
Right.
But it's amazing. And then when we're talking about like even the beginning of the trial, I'm like, oh yeah, oh my God, like other than the Aruba sluts and like all of that stuff, like when I'm going back to like Callahan and like the earlier cops, I'm like, man, it was 10 weeks. It didn't feel 10 weeks when we were like watching it, but the earlier weeks of the trial are like, feel like, you know, so far away where they started with facts and then all the way to the ARCA guys. I was like, man, yeah, I guess the timeline looks really different, like from the first couple weeks to the last couple weeks of the trial. It's just like, but I'm actually, I mean, like I said, I'm a medical professional and stuff, and I'm not really like proud of this EMT. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was you know, the nurse was one of the ones that was like, no. Turtle Boy said the nurse was, you know, 100% not guilty, obviously, because I mean, any medical professional that saw any of that, or heard any of it, but the EMT, I couldn't believe that he was as swayable. That he had like kind of flip flopped and like,
oh, that dude was
strong personalities. I'm like, dude.
Yeah,
you're a strong personality.
The defense
you're doing
destroyed
CPR on somebody
him
in the middle of the fucking street. Get your shit together. You know exactly what this was. Like, I get kind of pissed.
The defense destroyed that little shit, dude, on cross-examination. It was great.
Yeah, they look like idiots.
Yeah, he was like warm up. It was funny because he testified early. Yeah, he was like warm up for the defense to just like a sparring partner for like Mike Tyson to just destroy before a real fight. That's what he was to the defense.
He just wanted attention.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But like, great, you want attention? Be a hero and be like, fuck this.
Right.
No, he was cold. We had to warm him up. We knew what happened. We got the shit beat out of him.
Right.
So to a lot of us and like Nurse Kim and stuff, it was like really cut and dry really early. So we're not taking responsibility for these medical professionals. And that doctor, the ER doctor, loser. Had nothing to offer. Didn't remember anything. Wicked loser doctor.
Wicked loser guy.
Doctor, forget about it. So Anyway, thanks, man. I gotta go back to my shift and shit. But what a fun phone call. Thanks
Right
for
on.
thanks for answering, man.
Thanks for calling. I appreciate you, Joanna. Have a good one.
Right on. You too.
All right, I got time for one more call because I still got a half a cup of coffee. I haven't replaced you, Blue Cup. You're still in my bedroom.
Call from.
You're on. Who am I speaking with?
I want to know if I could get a job at Piggly Wiggly with you.
Of course you can get a job at Piggly Wiggly with me.
Wow. What's up?
What's up?
Nada. I just woke up. It was a pleasant surprise to catch you on this late.
Okay. Who am I speaking with?
This is your moderator, the wise ass from New York.
Oh, my moderator, the wise ass from New York. Is that Scott?
Yep.
Oh, what's up, Scott?
Nada. What's happening?
Not much, man. How you be doing? You just woke up?
Yeah, I passed out after dinner, so I woke up and first thing I see is you on freaking my phone. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, I just got a wild hair up my ass and decided to go live a second time this evening. So do a late night one. And it's cool, man. I got some people hanging out, man. Like Microdots was in here hanging out for a while.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw it.
Yeah.
Scott. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So what's up? You think they are changing the strategy to go after Lally and his cronies, or what?
Are they changing a strategy? I don't know. I don't know what their strategy is to begin with. But yeah. For you guys that don't know, this is Scott, who's he's a mod in here in the chat, and for Melanie Little as well. Yeah, I don't know what kind of strategy they have in the first place. So I mean, but I think that they're building a case, and considering, I mean, if they're looking for corruption within how they're conducting investigations, then they have a lot of investigations to investigate. Not just Karen Reed and Sandra Birchmore. Hopefully Justin Root. And
yeah.
This it looks like some stuff's going to go down, and what do you think about how this? What do you think is going to happen with Brian Walsh? What's your prediction on that?
To be honest with you, I really don't know much about the case at all. Obviously, I got into this whole true crime thing with Melanie and with Karen, and then it we wound up going into the Sandra Birchmore case.
Right.
And to be honest with you, I really can't handle watching, modding, or listening to the Sandra Birchmore case because it disgusts me. I would like to get into a room with them, and I'd kill all of them. I really would.
I get it, Scott. I get it, man. I feel you, dude. Like it's ugly, and it's in your face, and these guys are just walking around, except for Matt. He's the only one not walking around right now. The other ones are, and it's not justice. It's not.
No, it's not. It's not. It's disgusting. And I mean, the whole thing when we first found out, and I figured out that Karen was framed, I was pissed off and I was embarrassed.
Right.
And after doing the dives with you and Melanie into the Sandra Birchmore case and watching what's her name, Mizzy.
Yeah.
And it really ripped me apart listening to what these guys did and them walking around. And then it turns out that they're all tied to Karen's case.
Yeah. And it's tough. It's tough because I get really sensitive, and most people do. And that's the point I'm going to get at is most people get really sensitive when it comes to these cases of sexual abuse, grooming, and things of that nature. And the irony of that is, and I talked about this years ago on here. The irony of that is, we're all really uncomfortable talking about this. We're all really uncomfortable addressing it and talking about it. None of us, like to do it, and we avoid it every chance we get. All of us do it because it disgusts us, right? But the irony is that these predators hide behind that. That's what they use to hide behind, is your disgust and not wanting to even acknowledge that it's happening. That's why human trafficking seems like such a far-fetched thing, because it's so disgusting. You can't imagine that there are human beings out there that are willing to do this to other human beings. So it's such a shocking concept that there's so many people who just don't even want to believe that it actually happens, you know?
Yeah.
And these predators rely on that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I've heard of, I guess it was while I was still working. I heard of 2 cases. One wasn't nearly as bad as what happened with Sandra. There was a rumor about a cop from another transit command in Brooklyn, and it wasn't that he was grooming them or having relations with them, but the rumor was he apparently got caught having a meeting with them in a police facility and had them wrestling around with each other, which is totally inappropriate. Okay.
Yeah.
Apparently whoever, I don't know if it was a boss that caught him or another cop. And this is coming from people I used to work with before I got transferred to the detective squad. And he apparently was pulled out immediately, put on patrol. Then they pulled him after they did an investigation. They interviewed the kids, and there were no allegations or anything like that, but they nipped it in the bud. I mean, they saw this, and the end result is the guy passed away a couple of years ago. But obviously, luckily, there was no interaction physically with the kids with him.
Right.
It was just that I mean, there's no reason to have these kids wrestling around.
No.
So what this guy was thinking of, I mean, he might have been on his way to getting to that point, but thank God they nipped it in the bud, you know?
Right. Yeah. Because these fuckers, they're going to act at some point. You know what I mean? And I'm not suggesting that a Minority Report type situation happens where you convict somebody of something before they commit a crime, but god damn it, like if somebody comes forward and says that they have these thoughts, make no mistake, if they act on that, somebody's going to get victimized, and you just can't have that, you know. What do you do? What do you do? How do you Section 8 somebody? How do you 5150 somebody? How do you Baker Act somebody? It all depends on where you live. There's always a term for it. And what are the grounds for that? The grounds for that is if you are a danger to yourself or others, you can be locked up against your will in a psychiatric unit. And I think that people who have these thoughts about children are a danger to our society, and they don't get to be around our society because they're going to affect that society negatively by fucking with its future, by traumatizing its children.
Exactly. I mean, back in the day, I can tell you right now on patrol, being that we worked in the subway, it was very easy for us. We didn't call it 5150 or Section 8. Here in New York City, it was called, the person themselves was called the EDP, an emotionally disturbed person.
Right.
And we could pretty much do that. We could pretty much do that at will. I mean,
yeah, I don't agree with that. I think you need to get a judge's court order, and have proper, like, you should have some sort of proof, you know, and get a court order. Like criteria, like the Baker Act in Florida requires you to go to a judge and get a court order to have somebody locked up against their will for 72 hours observation. That's
well, for us, we didn't have that option. Well, right. We didn't have that option. What happened with working in the subway, you're working in an enclosed environment, and most transit cops worked by themselves. Where I worked, there were 65 subway stations that we covered in the south and the northeastern part of Brooklyn, Bushwick, Bed-Stuy, Brownsville, which was basically the homicide capital of the world in the late 80s and early 90s. And when you were on patrol, if you had some guy standing around talking to himself, all right, that's one thing. If you have some guy that's walking around in his underwear with a pair of sneakers on and he's throwing bottles, right, then you got yourself a certified EDP.
Well, right.
And what you would do is you would call a boss. You would call for EMS, emergency medical, to respond at the time, and you would call for a boss also.
But a doctor has to determine that, don't they? Doesn't a doctor, you have to take them to the emergency room, and then a doctor has to go, okay, I'm submitting them into this hospital in the psych ward for observation.
right off the bat, it was automatically a 24-hour hold.
Right.
They were on meds, unless they were on their meds.
Because they're a danger.
Off their
They're
meds.
throwing fucking
Correct.
bottles at
Correct.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. I mean, we had it all the time. We had people that would just turn around and jump
Right.
on the railroad tracks.
Right.
And automatically, theoretically,
Yeah.
they're an EDP, and you have them taken to the hospital in 48 hours. Now, if you didn't arrest them, you would just have to, 9 times out of 10, you rode in the back of the ambulance with EMS to the hospital. The nurse would sign them in, and your partner was waiting outside, or a car was going to pick you up and take you back to your command. You're going back out on patrol because we were short-handed.
Wow.
But there were times I had a guy literally jump onto the railroad tracks, okay? And in the middle of the subway, there's what's called there's a thing that triggers the emergency brakes on the train cars.
Okay.
The guy was trying to pry this thing up off the ground with his hands.
Don't you get
Friday night.
Don't you get electrocuted by the tracks on the subway, or is that just in the movies?
If you touch the third rail and you're grounded.
Okay. If your feet are on the ground and then you touch the third, okay, I got you.
And you touch the third rail, yeah.
All right.
Dude, I seen people walk on the third rail. When I was a rookie, I didn't understand it.
Wow.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
There have to
This
be
guy's
touching the
walking on
ground.
third
Right?
rail. Yeah, exactly. If you're
Right.
not grounded. But we had one guy that literally was trying to rip this thing off the ground. There was no way he was getting it out. So I was a rookie. I had maybe a year, 2 years on him. I'm going to myself, oh my God, what am I going to do with this guy? So I call for a boss. The boss shows up. We talk the guy off the ground. We cuff him up. And you could see he was going to start going nuts. So instead of the boss saying, all right, we're going to send 2 cops with this guy, the boss sends me to the hospital. We go to the hospital with this guy. And because he wasn't signed in, because it was a Friday night, it's packed. You got people getting shot and stabbed coming in. I got to sit with this guy in the hospital. 8 hours later, they decide to sign him up. And the doctor tells me, take the cuffs off. I'm like, no, call somebody else to come here so he can take the cuffs off. He's like, why? I go, the guy's going to go nuts and run out of here. I go, you think I'm the only guy that can stop him? Well, turns out, she says, take him off. I'm like, okay. So I tell the doctor to open the door. I step back by the door, take the cuffs off. This guy runs over me like I was a freaking like a
crazy,
kid.
Yeah.
Runs out the door. We have to call for the precinct to show up. Yeah. And then the boss shows
These
up.
fuckers are
Well,
fast, man. Crazy people are fast and strong.
Yes.
You're fast and strong, bro. Like,
yeah.
Like, and that's
People have no
actually a
idea.
fact. That's actually a fact. I've heard mental health professionals say that people with like schizophrenia and like, people with like schizophrenia and people diagnosed with like psychosis, like a psychotic disorder, they tend to have like boosted strength. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, they do. It's no joke. It is no joke.
That's fucking wild, man.
Yeah.
All
All
right,
right, listen, I'm sure you want to get out of here, get some TV, unless you got some questions for me.
Oh, I think I'm gonna crash, man. But yeah, I wish you would have called earlier. I would have kept
I
you
wish I was
on.
awake earlier.
Yeah, I'm beat, man. I'm calling it a night. Look, it's the other Scott from Melanie Little's channel here, Scott Messerschmidt. What's up, buddy? It's that dude from Melanie Little's channel. All right, Scott. Thanks, buddy.
Yep. All right, guys. Have a good night. I'll catch you soon.
You too, man. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Awesome, man. That was fun, man. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with me late. I realized that so many people have to work tomorrow, so it's probably why. It was a small crowd, which I expected because I knew it was a late night. But I like that sometimes, man. I like the intimacy. That's what I would expect it tonight, and I was kind of counting on it, and it was nice to have that intimacy just with you guys, man. Very chill vibe tonight. So I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me, man, and indulging me. You guys are absolutely fantastic. And this is just a hangout thing, man. I don't really give a shit if you hit the like or subscribe. But if you're a new subscriber, I appreciate you. I think I really hope that you think highly of the channel and you enjoy it. I really hope to live up to to whatever expectations you may have. You guys can tell I'm tired, right? Anyways, guys, you guys are fantastic. I love you guys very much, and we will do this again very soon, my friends.